Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drop Frame's final day of coverage here. Show's over. Actually, no, it's not. It's like day 2 of the convention, Rami. It's still going on. People are still doing crazy things in LA.
How long is the convention total?
Started Monday. Well, Rami can answer this better than I can. Go ahead.
Yeah, E3 is about 200 days long at this point. It used to be just the show floor days, but now the pressers start like in the weekend before E3. So really, E3 is like a week.
Yeah.
I think most industry folks bail tonight because tomorrow is audience only day. So there's no way we can do anything on the show floor. Today there's 2 hours of industry, but they're now, so I'm missing those. But beyond that, like E3 is mostly meetings. Actually, the real E3 is like 2 of the hotels here in LA where everybody hangs out. And that's just where E3 kind of happens, and then the big show stuff happens on the show floor.
Right. That makes sense. Max, how's it going? You're supposed to be at E3.
It's great. Everything's great here. Nothing of interest happened at all.
What did you do to your leg? How did this? I saw last night on Twitter. You're like, I'm not at E3. Got a boot on my leg. And
well, okay. No, here's the thing. Like, I already planned to not go to E3. And that was just a decision to like stay home and stream and like grind and like make content and whatever. And then I fell off a deck and fractured my heel in multiple places, barefoot on concrete. So that was fun.
Hold on. What? You fell out of your chair? What did you say?
I fell off my deck. I will describe it in detail if you'd like.
How high up is your deck? Let's start with that.
Like a little, like about a little over a story tall. So like 12 plus feet.
Why were you standing on a place where you could fall off your deck in the first place? I'm gonna mom you right now. What the fuck were you doing?
I'm gonna explain it to you the way I did my doctor when he's like, you fell off a deck. It's not smart at all. Wouldn't recommend. No, it was like raining outside. And I went outside and I was like, oh, the rain's nice. I was standing on my deck. That was phase 1. And then I was thinking my dumbass thoughts of like, hey, what if like all of my, entrances and exits or whatever were blocked, like there's a fire or something, and the only way to escape is like the deck. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can like brace myself, do a proper fall, and do break your fall and everything like that, which would have been fine if I had the chance. But as I was lowering myself down into like a hanging position from the deck, I know, really dumb, really intelligent, Max. I was putting my weight on the spindles, you know what I mean, on the other side of the deck, and the spindles gave way because of my weight, and then I fell free fall down. That's what happened.
But is it a good fire escape?
Yeah, no, it'd be great. It was a good fire escape if I jumped properly or like fell controlled, it would have been great. But yeah, I didn't get that chance, JP. I fell right off of the fucking deck because the stupid ass spindles can't support my weight.
There's 2 options there. You could have been fake burned alive, or you could have broken your ankle. So you went
exactly
ankle. Yeah,
exactly. So now we know even if I didn't do a controlled fall like the way I did, I'd be alive. No fire gonna get me.
Did you play hard as a kid, like in hide and seek? Were you like fucking the best hider? You seem like
pretty good at hide and seek. Yeah, I'd hide in like a bush.
You seem like you go the extra mile on all things sometimes.
Yeah, it wasn't a wise decision. But I don't have to have surgery. I have multiple fractures, but he said like all the bone pieces are like in the right place. They're not separated. So it's like an egg that's cracked, but everything's still in place.
But it's your ankle.
You know what?
Yeah, but it's my ankle bone. Or not ankle bone, heel.
I don't buy it, Gassy.
Okay.
No, I don't buy it. I think this is a bad story to cover up the fact that you're some kind of James Bond-esque agent and you got injured on a mission. I don't believe this.
I mean, believe what you want, but that's what I'm throwing out to the internet. Hey. I wish it was something that cool. I wish it was something that cool. I'm just fucking stupid. But I got these crutches, which, by the way, anybody who's ever used crutches and had to suffer, the crutches fucking suck, man. They are not cool.
You would think that they would like improve on crutches. Like crutches existed when I was a kid, and they're the same fucking thing with just a little better padding. Like,
I got some pads for it. Those are aftermarket pads.
Where's the scientific improvement on crutches? We need robots. We need wheels on those crutches. We
need some kind of chair with wheels on it, maybe.
Or perhaps a scooter with wheels that are all terrain that I ordered
that's-
because crutches fucking suck.
Max,
so it's coming
actually tried
tomorrow.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that tomorrow.
Please don't fucking hurt yourself while with
No,
a broken
I'll be
heel
fine.
on a
It'll be
motorized speeder.
fine.
Okay.
I'll test how fast I can go on that without getting speed wobbles. It'll be good. I'll report back.
What would happen if this was on fire and I had to jump off of it?
Suddenly, someone used heat metal on this, like in D&D.
God.
And then he breaks his arm.
Yeah, he'll break something else on that 100%.
I don't want to waste time on my stupid injuries. We got Rami only for a little bit, so
Appreciate you being here regardless, Max. I'm sorry your healing leg is the reason for it, but
Oh, JP, yeah, you might have not heard this. Rami has about an hour.
Yeah. He told me on Twitter. And then Co, you just been on my channel every morning. We just can't.
Yes.
After this, we need like a full week of just no communication.
None.
Yeah. We're just gonna.
I am sick of your ass.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. It's been a.
But that being said, next C3, I'm bringing a sleeping bag and I'm just staying at your house.
Great. I mean, I've got a bed. If you really, there's no need for a sleeping bag. We have a guest room. Okay. All right.
You like camp.
Great. Well, Rami, since you're the only one that's at E3 and you only have about an hour, what was the show floor like yesterday? Did you get around and see anything?
Do you want the industry view or just the objective view?
Do we have time for both?
Do we have time for both? Yeah.
Well, okay. So from an objective view, it's a good show floor. Nintendo is pretty much just Smash. PlayStation is exactly what you'd expect. There's 4 major games and then a little Destiny booth and some other stuff. Nothing super big. The Xbox booth is actually not in the building. It's in a separate building because Microsoft's got a Microsoft, I guess. There's a whole bunch of just random stuff. The other major booths like Bethesda and all that, they just look like those booths. There's a bunch of demos that I should be doing today, so that's cool. Sadly, that's today and not yesterday. Otherwise, I won't be able to tell you about it right now.
Sure.
So I'm excited for that. I'll report on that on my Twitter probably. And then, I don't know. It's a good high energy show floor. It's super packed. So just getting anywhere, being
even with just industry, it's packed because that's usually not the case, right?
So that's the thing. That's the industry perspective. The industry perspective is this used to be a show floor where you can walk.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore. It's super full. The Smash Bros, like the Smash Bros queue, is easily like 45 minutes to an hour.
Jesus.
Fuck.
But they're starting to separate out some of the industry stuff. So most booths have like a secret industry entrance.
Sure.
So that's what I'm gonna be using.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange. I don't know. But old E3 used to be very much like you walk the show floor, talking shop, talking secrets, talking NDA.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. This one is just very different. I don't know for any other shows, but it feels a bit more like Gamescom in Cologne. So it's a bit bigger, it's a bit more spectacular. But I do think the audience adds a lot of energy, so that's super cool.
Right.
Because normally we're just industry folks, and we're just like, yeah, it's an E3. Cool, what you up to? And here there's people like freaking the fuck out about, being in line for 45 minutes for Smash Bros. So, yeah, that's cool. It's cool to see. It's just exciting to see people be that excited instead of us being like, how's work? We're good. Good to hear. I have a meeting. Yeah, you too. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go to my meeting. So that's kind of how we do at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, in the convention world, E3 is kind of where you debut your big booth, and then you take that you take it to PAX, and you take it to Gamescom, and you take it to another PAX, and then another PAX, and then maybe one or two other cons, and then you retire it for E3 the next year. What's the biggest and best booth you've seen?
Nintendo nailed it. They
Really?
did the super good, super open booth. There's nothing in it except for big screens showing their, well, mostly Smash Bros. And then just the rest of it is just you can just see the queue. It's just an endless queue, and then like a big area full of demo stations. It's perfect. It's super like PlayStation did that more intimate thing again, where the booth is enclosed by giant walls, and it's beautiful, but it feels less hype, I guess.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a super interesting thing to see how much things have changed, because Nintendo used to be very secretive, and now they're just out there. Like the Switch was good for Nintendo. Let's put it that way. Like
Sure.
clearly that thing is over. Also, just looking at those announcements, because I wasn't here after Nintendo, but like they basically just said, "Hey, Smash Bros. And also everything else that you kind of want, including Fire Emblem."
Yeah, they read patch notes to us for about 30 minutes of of Smash Bros. Like, we got to learn that there's two voices for Ike, and then they played the two voices and showed us the difference. And, yeah,
Hello.
exactly.
What is that difference, man?
It was exactly that. It
was like, listen to this gunshot. Pow, pow, pow. Listen to this gunshot. Pew, pew, pew.
right. But I mean, that's playing to your audience, right? Like that, the people that are fans of Smash want that shit. They want to know the minor, to the minorest detail on all that stuff. So it makes sense that they would do that. When is that? There's a Smash tournament, right? Is that today or was that yesterday? Because yesterday was the Splatoon stuff, but I don't. Maybe chat can let me know when that actually goes on. It was yesterday. It already happened. Okay, I did not know that. I was watching. The only thing I really watched, like tournament wise or esport wise, for me through was the Fortnite event last night, because that thing was fucking huge. They must have spent
that was ridiculous.
so much goddamn money on that. It was.
I didn't go to that party, but my wife did. The Fortnite party?
I didn't make it in.
Oh yeah, no. Apparently the queue was so big that she didn't make it in.
Yeah,
It sounds about right.
It was supposed to be a
sounds-
pretty big deal.
It looked cool.
It looked mostly. She says it looked mostly loud, and
And it was surrounded by In-N-Out trucks.
Yes,
it was surrounded by In-N-Out trucks.
they brought
Yeah.
In-N-Out food trucks there.
I didn't get to eat In-N-Out.
Right. So she is upset she didn't get to eat In-N-Out, and the queue was too long.
Okay,
That's a full
feedback.
review.
Yeah.
I think that's a 7 out of 10.
So,
7 out of 10.
It
it's
seemed
an
like
okay
your-
party. It's,
Yeah, it seemed like your
your
E3 party, right? Like Logic showed up there. He was a big musical act. Marshmallow was playing. Marshmallow and Ninja ended up winning the big event, so they won $1 million to charity, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was really weird to wake up. This has nothing to do with E3, but the Today Show ran, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. They ran a segment this morning talking about the quote Fortnite frenzy, and had like a child psychologist there talking about how games make kids aggressive and it could be problematic. And I'm just like, and they had two
Nice.
kids. They had two kids playing on the Switch. It was like the best advertisement in a weird way, because they just had two kids playing Fortnite on the Switch in front of these three people that were sitting there talking. And I'm like, why the fuck does this exist?
Did those kids even know like why they were there?
No,
Or
they're just like, oh, I want to play Fortnite. Give me
bring
the
your
Switch."
your kids like Fortnite. Bring them on the show. We just need them in the background shot. They don't need to know that they're just advertising how horrible it is for kids to play it. Just bring them on.
Yeah.
We'll give them some candy. It'll be cool. Do we need to pay? No, we don't need to pay them candy. They're dumb.
I saw that this morning. It was kind of crazy. It's the same
Did
argument.
they also secretly supply the kids with weapons?
Yeah.
Like knives or something?
Yeah. All right. In about a minute or two, just pull this knife out of your back and start threatening us if we can't play more.
If you could just take this pitchfork that we have next to you on the couch and then get mad at the game and then just smack down the set, so that way we can prove our point.
Yeah. If chat wants to go watch that for whatever reason, I think DJ Wheat was the one that was retweeting it, so you can check out his Twitter. Just a fucking weird thing. Especially like the day after they just ran an event where they gave away $3 million to charity.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, fucking, come on. So stupid. So dumb.
Also, of all the games to like single out for violence, it's like a cartoony builder. Like when you get
There's
hit,
no blood in it.
confetti goes off your character. Like, really? Oh yeah, my lord, man.
Yeah.
I'm all for like not all for, but I'm definitely able to concede that yes, that's it's a super addicting game. Obviously, kids are like super hooked on it, and that is problematic if left unchecked by the parents. But if unchecked by the parents, it's not the game developer's fault that you're not, parenting your kids and limiting the amount of time that they're exposed to that.
That's dumb. It's just dumb.
It's such a silly thing, especially if they're trying to pull like it makes kids aggressive. It also makes them dance the same dances between like every kid across the world.
Yeah, dude, that Fortnite thing, like I think as people on Twitch and people in the industry, we all kind of know how big Ninja is in this space and kind of what he's doing. But yesterday at the beginning of the Fortnite tournament, they had like a camera in the crowd that was mic'd up, and they were just doing like a pan shot of the crowd. There was a bunch of like 10 to probably 13-year-olds, and all of them were screaming Ninja's name. Just like, I love Ninja, please win, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, Jesus, this guy's got some fucking reach. Like, he is out
It's
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Especially just how quickly that happened. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
level that I don't think anyone before him has gained that much following that quickly. Like it's unprecedented.
I mean, definitely to smaller scales, we saw like Shroud and Dr. Disrespect kind of boom. But,
but this is like...
Actually, Gassy is absolutely right. The YouTube guys actually were pretty public about the fact that Ninja is the fastest non-music, non-company related stream to ever get 10 million. So no, he is definitely a microcosm. He is a unique event. It's absolutely crazy.
And just
by the way,
an asshole, am I right? This guy, Ninja, coloring your hair. Come on, we've seen that before. No, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. Did a viewer in my chat turned me on to this, and I hadn't heard about this. Did you guys hear about what's going on with the Nintendo Switch and Sony in Fortnite?
No.
Look at this.
I'm so ready
Fortnite
for this
launched
news.
on the Nintendo Switch today, and that version of the game can play against folks on iOS, Mac, Windows, and Xbox. The problem is that using a Fortnite account that has been used on a PlayStation 4 will keep you from using that account on the Switch. And an account that has been used on the Switch can't be played on the PS4. If you've played on a PS4, the Switch version will give you the following error. This Fortnite account is associated with a platform which does not allow it to operate on the Switch. If you played on the Switch, the PS4 version will give you this error. The Epic account you tried to link cannot play on this platform.
Yeah.
Man, Sony's got to stop doing that shit.
Dude.
I mean, they're ahead.
Yeah, they're winning, right? Like they're
ahead. Like anything they do to help the other platforms is just going to lower their lead, so they're not going to do that. Like their new management is not going to do that. Their old management would have done that. Their old management would have been like, yes, crossplay, good.
Yeah.
But the team that's in charge now, they don't see why they would give up their lead, because every time they allow that, like as soon as they allow Fortnite to crossplay with Xbox. Right, because that's the big question, is Xbox. If they do that, then it suddenly doesn't matter whether you buy a PlayStation or an Xbox, because you can play Fortnite with your friends.
Right.
Now, if you want to play Fortnite with your friends, you have to buy a PlayStation because your friends are likely to have a PlayStation. So, yeah, it makes sense, but it's super shit. It's like,
that is, yeah.
Come on, this game is a phenomenon unlike what we've seen in a super long time. Let people play with their friends. We know we can do it. Rocket League has proven we can do it. Like,
right.
It feels a little PlayStation 2 to me.
It does, yeah.
Sony's ahead, and
I can't imagine being a parent and trying to explain that to my child. Hey, the company that owns this system right here won't let you play with them because of business reasons.
Oh, it's just one word. If they're ever wanting to, it's money.
It's money. Yeah.
Money. That's why you can't play with your friends.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Because money is a thing.
Exactly. But yeah, that whole Fortnite stuff was just insane. I think they peaked at, or they like across all channels and platforms and all that stuff. I think they had around 2+ million viewers on that event yesterday, not counting China, which I think might be like the biggest numbers I've heard for an event like that when it comes to streaming. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, that's all Fortnite. Rami, I'm going to call you out last night because I know Co wants to hear this. I was watching the Giant Bomb coverage, and on the segment before yours, now I'm blanking on his name.
Warren Spector.
Warren Spector was there. And during the break, I saw the two of you cross paths as he was leaving and you were entering the room, and there was a conversation. So I'm just going to ask, are you and Warren Spector best friends? And what do you know?
Oh, we're friends. We've been friends for a few years because when we were both walking down the red carpet at DICE, and we got paired together. Like when you walk the red carpet, they usually pair you with somebody. And I just got paired with this guy who made some of my favorite games ever when I was a kid. And that remains a super awkward thing because this industry is normally all about the same age.
Right.
But because everybody else burns out or something. But the people that survive in this industry long enough are rare. There's not many. So I ran into Warren Spector at Giant Bomb. And the first thing I ever said to him was like, I used to use your name as a cheat code. And he looked at me and he's like, what? And there's a cheat code in Deus Ex that is like, I am Warren. And what it does, which is super useful, is it disables all electronic devices around you, whether they're security devices, computers, door locks, whatever, so you can just walk through. I use that a lot, but he told me that the reason that's in there is because every time he came to check on the build, something would mess up during development. So the devs put that in there as like a fucking hell, Warren, don't get near our electronics.
That's great.
So he told me that story, and I'm like, I am so sorry, but it was a useful cheat code, and he's like, sure it was. So that was good.
Yeah.
So that was a good day in terms of meeting people. I ran into God, I don't want to sound like a name drop list, but
No,
it was a
I
good
think
day.
we're wanting you to name
Hey,
drop.
Rami,
You're not.
I respect your request. You name every single drop that you can.
Yeah. This is us requesting it, not necessarily
a request.
you bragging.
Do it for the cripple, me. Come on.
Okay. Ran into Vince Impala, ran into Todd Howard, who seemed pretty pleased with how E3 went. So
Really?
that was good to see.
Yeah, he's getting out there on a bunch of different. He was on like the YouTube thing. I think he was on Twitch yesterday talking about. We'll talk about a little bit.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about since the last show we had about that stuff.
Yeah. They're saying some stuff they weren't at the conference. Continue, Rami.
But anyway, it's really fun. Todd is also he's an incredible human because he's not a big person. In a lot of games industry, people are like kind of tall, kind of like. And Todd is just like, he's small, but also he clearly demands a presence. Like you will never find him standing alone. It's just you go talk to Todd because it's Todd and he's cool. Let's see. Ran into Randy Pitchford, who's always nice to talk to. Ran into God. There was a lot of people. God, who else?
And are they just kind of like in between meetings on the floor, or are they in specific rooms, or like what? What are they like? What's the general? I guess for you, this question for you as well. Like what do you do at E3? Do you just walk around and look at stuff? Do you go behind closed doors and have conversations? Like what does that look like?
It kind of depends on what you're doing here, but for most developers that are here, the goal is meetings. Like you try to do meetings, try to hang out, try to talk. And that's really cool. I think for a lot of developers, E3 just looks like a hotel suite, which is really that's what it is. And then in the evening, we all end up at like some sort of social event, whether it's like a like meetup of a bunch of developers at a sushi thing, or like a magic show, or I don't know what, like something. We just go hang out, talk, and I think that's probably my favorite part of E3 is just catching up with everybody, and just hearing what they're up to. You know, like you get to talk shop a little, and it's really weird as an indie because I got into the industry thinking like indies are indies and AAA are AAA, and the AAAs are never going to waste time on talking to some sort of indie. But it turns out we're the same industry, so if you run a company that's 2 people, you're still somewhat affected by the same things as somebody who runs a studio of 300 people.
Right.
So all of those people that I listed, like, we know each other, we talk shop. So you're just talking to her, you're like, yeah, no, I think the C3 feels a little odd, doesn't it? And then, some big AAA studio head is like, yeah, I felt that too. What did you think? What do you think? What do you think the problem was? Because I can't figure it. I just have this weird feeling, and it's like, yeah, and you're just talking business about like long-term projections for the industry and what's going to be a trend next year. And it's like, you pay for the jobs of 300 people. If you do a show, like 1 million plus people tune in. I have a Twitter account. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's always super fun. This one. I also like always love running into Vinyaki and Adam Boys.
Yeah, those guys are seem like they'd be a lot of fun.
They're phenomenal. Adam is just really fun. We've been friends for a long time, and I remember when was that, Adriel, the road trip?
It was the year Final Fantasy VII remake.
It was the Final Fantasy VII year, where
2 years ago,
we were,
I think.
We were at the PlayStation headquarters the week before E3, and Adam was sitting there with the entire team that was planning E3. And this is a big show, right? Like, E3 matters, especially for PlayStation. And Adam is going to be on the stage, and he's like, so stressed out. I hate that I have to fly out. And then and me and Adriel had a car, so we were going to drive there. And we just look at him, and we're like, on a road trip? And his entire team goes like, no, take the flight. And Adam is like, that sounds great.
Yeah,
that sounds great. So
what was
we road tripped Adam.
For those that don't know, what was Adam's position at Sony then? Was he senior VP? What?
Yeah, I think it was senior VP. He was definitely head of the entire, like, he's basically what Sean Layden is now. So I don't know what title that officially is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Adam Boyce is genuinely one of the nicest, kindest people in this industry. And I think it was just fun because you could see his entire team freak out. Like, what if these people have an accident? What if they get stuck? What if they're strapped? And I mean, honestly, I had a moment where I was like, what if we accidentally kill Adam Boyce on this road trip? And now the PlayStation show is just...
You would have been responsible for the demise of PlayStation, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Shuhei Yoshida is always super lovely to run into. That entire PlayStation team. I haven't seen Phil yet. I hope I run into Phil Spencer.
I know he's going to be at the Giant Bomb thing tonight, but I don't know if you're revisiting.
You know that Phil is actually also one of the nicest, kindest humans you will ever meet.
That definitely comes off whenever he's on the Giant Bomb stuff. Like, he just seems like a nice, down-to-earth guy that just likes video games, and he's in the position to have a lot of decisions that will make some big changes for sure. But yeah.
I once called him out on a thing on Twitter. It was like Forza, and it had gotten like one really bad review, like 4 out of 10 or something, right? And he had sent out this tweet that was basically like, we're happy to see that reviewers that put informing the customer first or something have rated Forza super high. Clearly calling out like that 4 out of 10 as like not genuine or something. So I tweeted at him and I'm like, dude, listen, you can't do that. If your game gets like straight 10s, sure, tweet that. But like, you can't do that if one website gives your game shit, because it's still their review. And he actually did a public apology. And then when we met up again, he did another apology. And he's like, you're right. Like, I'm an exec at a major company. I got to treat, the fan base with respect. I got to treat the websites with respect. I got to treat the fans of those websites with respect. And he was just super down to earth. He was super humble. He could destroy my career in like a minute. And instead, he's just like, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I apologize. And he did like a public Twitter, like, sorry. I was like, wow. Okay.
I think that's what separates like good people in this industry, the ones that don't let their position and their like ego get to them and are still susceptible to, I'm able to make a mistake. And when one of their peers, regardless of whether or not they're like at the same level of them, like mentions and calls out like, hey, that's not cool. You should probably not do that. They're like, oh shit. Yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't do that,
Yeah.
Rather than, the the alternate would be just some dumbass who's just like, fuck you, I'm,
The double down.
Yeah, exactly.
that's like the test, I think, for a lot of people. That's what I've said a lot of times going forward for people in the industry that they have situations that present themselves where it kind of reveals their character, and the ones that, go the route that you just said, speaks a lot about their character, and those are the ones you want to talk to and form relationships with.
Yeah, exactly. I think like the past couple of years, especially with the rise of, social media and Twitch and live streaming and all that stuff, you actually get to know people who make games rather than just like a Sony or a Nintendo or like, Phil, because he goes on stuff like Giant Bomb and he does a bunch of stuff with Major Nelson on their podcasts and stuff like that. Rami comes on shows like these and we get to hear about all these other stories, and it's kind of cool just being that we're not talking, or like, we're not just seeing companies put on E3 conferences anymore. Like, you're actually seeing and hearing actual conversations from these people, which is really cool. I think that's a good way that the industry is going.
And like very lowered guard, like the Phil on Giant Bomb and like Adam on Giant Bomb back when he was PlayStation, like, or just in general, like seeing them interact with like live streamers or press, like they've dropped their guard so much. Like they're way more okay with just talking a bit of shop, talking a bit of, criticism that they got. Like that used to be like, you wanted to talk about a controversy that had happened, that goes through PR.
Right.
And now you're live streaming, you can't go through PR. So it's way more like, okay, you know what? Just don't make it worse. Get on there and like talk about it. And like, I think that is a very good thing. It's a very healthy thing, I think, that we're more okay with putting developers out there.
Right.
We're always a little worried because we've also seen the Sean Murray thing with No Man's Sky, where sometimes putting somebody out there it backfires.
Lightning.
It just,
yeah. He just says too much.
It becomes a bad thing, and I really appreciate Sean. I think he's also a very kind. He's a very kind human. He's a dreamer, absolutely a sci-fi dreamer. In game development, things sometimes go weird. So I still believe every single word he said was genuine and was genuinely a thing that they were trying to do. But yeah, that much spotlight on a person who is not ready for it out of nowhere, that's terrifying.
Totally.
I was talking to a developer yesterday who worked on a game that got super high ratings this E3 that just kind of came out of left field. And she's a super cool developer, but the first time we met, she was super shy. And I ran into her yesterday, and she's even shyer now because now everybody gives a shit.
Right.
She's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal. I want to delete my Twitter account. I want to delete my Facebook. I want to never see anything again until my game is done, and then I'll go deal with everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, I am so sorry, but that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, there's always two sides of the coin for sure.
Yeah.
Which is just, that's going to be a constant. It sucks, but that's how it is, I guess. What are you saying? Like, I think we went into this E3 and like the joke was, oh, it's another BR game, right? Like that. I think there was more BR jokes made about this E3 than any other joke around there. But we didn't see really any BR games. I think there was maybe two, and they were at the PC Gaming Conference show, and one of them was like, oh yeah, there's 1,000 players. What does that mean? I don't know. And then they showed a little bit of gameplay, and that was it. Do you think those are still to come, or do you think that like people are just like, all right, Fortnite's doing its own thing. Let's let Fortnite do their own thing because they're doing really well, and we'll go over here and continue doing our thing. Like, where's the industry at with that?
I think the biggest thing that's happening is Battle Royale is just going to be implemented as a mode into more games. I'm sure we'll see more indie Battle Royale. There was this game that did 1,000 players.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, what is the? Why would you?
Yeah.
That seems like a bad idea. That's an hour-long match instead of a 20-minute.
Hope your game's popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, to fill that, to get 1,000 people into the game to begin with. Yeah.
The expectation.
Well, think
on
about this,
that
think about
just, yeah.
1,000 people in a game And then, well, of course, there's going to be people that want to play 30 minutes later. So then there's another 1,000 people. Oh, and then of course, after that game starts, you're going to have another, 15 minutes later, another 1,000 people. It's like, how many games are going to be going at once, and how often are people going to be queuing up? And like, I really think that that's a game that I hope they're scaling for low numbers too. As long as they do that, it's fine. Up to 1,000 players is a good phrase.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be rough for them, I think, unfortunately, especially these days.
That was a really weird thing to see that. Yeah, then I guess apart from that, it just seems like E3 was kind of weird in terms of the actual conferences. And I guess we could talk about this as a whole now rather than just talking about how fucking weird Sony was. But Sony was really fucking weird this year. I don't know if they've hit their limit on trying to... I don't want to say the word artsy, but I kind of feel like that's what they were going for, getting people in the room and then showing like, oh, this is the room you're in Last of Us 2 for this thing we're showing. But that was just bad. That was just a bad thing to shuffle people from room to room in the middle of a conference, especially when a lot of those people are press and they're like trying to cover the games and you announce games off stream where they can't see it because they're fucking having to move. So it was a weird year for conferences, I think. I don't know why. I don't know why that was a thing.
I think so. From what I've spoken to everybody, I think that transition thing, that I don't remember who said it, but it's an odd year, and I think Cole might have mentioned it in the pre-3 show, but I think that was kind of spot on. It's like, it's an odd year. We have a bunch of good games all set for not this year. We need to pad that with stuff for this year to make not everybody upset that there is nothing this year. So we're trying to hype everything equally, and you can't do that. You can't be like The Last of Us and also this random game coming out this year. Like,
unless there's a bunch of random games this year that you could put in a montage, right?
But there's really not. I think that's the problem. Is having this conversation yesterday. Like, the industry kind of constricted is the word that somebody used, and everybody is making a big online persistent game with many players in which one remains standing maybe and maybe not, and otherwise you're grinding and looting stuff until your character is personalized, and we will probably have a community function that allows you to upload art for small payments, and we're listening to community feedback.
Yeah.
And that's the game. That's 95% of everything that was announced, and it's 95% of what is going to be released, and they're all going to come out on February 22nd.
Jeez, yeah, February is going to be crazy. As everyone was announcing their games, I think everyone that does content for games just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
6 games in February, or 7 games, 3 of them on the same day, I think is what it is.
And these are not little games either.
Yeah.
These are like all of these headlining games.
Yeah. They could take a month
or
fill a month on Twitch in terms of content themselves. So it's January and February of 2019 is going to be crazy. I hope there's enough this fall. Like, I hope that the games that come out, like Spider-Man, I guess starts it off in, is that September or August? One of those months. And then we kind of feed into a bunch of the normal fall releases after that. But there's not going to be a slowdown after Christmas. That's for sure. It's going to be a little crazy. I kind of hope that, and Ubisoft's kind of always been this way, and maybe other people can't do what Ubisoft does because it's just Ubisoft, but I feel like out of all the conferences, they kind of just got out there and had the most fun, right? Like, they understood that no one wants to see just dance gameplay, but we'll watch a panda in a marching band walk to the stage and dance and probably be entertained by that. So it's getting kind of cool to see them know how to show the games that they're trying to put out there and trying to get people excited about. I think for me, like, they had the best conference, not games, but like conference. Like, it was enjoyable to watch more so than any other one for me. That doesn't really mean anything. It just means they know how to go out there and have fun. But yeah, Ubisoft for me was the winner. Max, we haven't heard from you really at all because we didn't have you on at all this past week. But where are you at, like, conference-wise? Which did you enjoy the most?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna echo pretty much what you guys said. It was weird, and I don't like choosing like a winner for me.
Yeah, that's
it's so
it's kind of a
hard
weird
to
thing.
do that. And if you do take that stance, then it's just like the internet uproars and like, well, what you got to understand about what they're. I don't know why they're Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, the
but
internet's Mickey Mouse. Is the internet in the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer where Mickey sticks his head through that black abyss? Is that what's going on?
Did you like my lack of sound effects?
Jesus.
No, I don't know. It was kind of a blur to me. There was just a lot of really cool stuff that I saw. I'm more interested to hear like the specific things that you guys want, like are interested about, and then give an opinion on that. Because you got to understand too. I was also hopped up on pain pills as I was watching.
That sounds amazing.
As I was watching
the Kingdom Hearts trailer 3 times on pain pills just sounds
pretty
like
cool
the best
in the moment. But as I'm looking back, I'm like, I remember some stuff.
So wait, what do you think
that
Stranding
dragon started eating the audience in the Ubisoft conference? I don't know how they did that. That was amazing.
What'd you say, Rami?
I want to know how you experienced Death Stranding, because I can't figure out if that's worse on painkillers or better on painkillers.
Yeah,
or
I just didn't. I didn't know. I feel like it was. I didn't know even more so when I was watching, but I was like,
but
I just got really quiet, and I was just looking at the TV. Like, I even looked at Amanda a couple times. I'm like, she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Don't just watch it."
I feel like for me, Death Stranding was a miss this year. They got so far away from like being weird that they just showed gameplay that looked kind of vacant and like not ready to be shown.
He was walking a lot.
Yeah, he was a delivery man.
Death Stranding.
Like,
yeah, he was walking stuff around. He's like the most dedicated Postmates guy there is. That's what I got out of the trailer mainly. There was a lot of just
weird.
like, yeah.
Like we talked about, man, after the show, I have to admit, and it feels really weird using this word with anything from him. The gameplay looked boring.
Yeah, well, it looked like it was. I don't think it. They had to show gameplay, but I really hope that's not actual gameplay.
They showed him walking around.
Yeah,
like it's. I hope that wasn't gameplay, JP.
Exactly.
I hope
that's what I'm saying.
Game is not walking around semi-endless environments, waiting for like things to happen and weird me out for a little bit, and then more walking.
So now, do you think that they chose to just throw that in as filler because we don't want to show, our like creative like plot points and stuff and shit and just, give everything away on these trailers? Or do you think it was just like, this is primarily the gameplay that we have at this point?
It's Kojima, man. We're not going to know what that game is till like 2 weeks
exactly. Well, that's what I thought too. But either way, it's like,
know what the game is until 2 months after we play it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I was going to say, even when you play it, it's going to be like...
And Kojima pretty much has already stated that that part of the game they didn't want to show. So the thing is like we there's definitely more gameplay. There's certainly gameplay there. We know there's stuff that he's not showing. But the thing I think we're talking about here on the show is that it was interesting that in lieu of showing the gunplay and action elements, what they did show, unfortunately, didn't look very good. It didn't look very engaging to play. I feel like I'm sure there's other gameplay elements in the game that aren't shooting, or I'm sure there's other things that they could have shown that weren't what they didn't want to show. It just seemed kind of weird that was like, it just seems like there should have been more. I felt like it should have been something more kind of eye-popping, especially coming from like MGS. Like it, I don't know.
The thing that I got out of it is Kojima is very much a movie guy, and I think he's just kind of playing towards that like society has ended and you are the mailman.
Yeah.
Story trope, like this is a world in which connection is important, and those movies are very much about like the last person keeping society in place by delivering mail from one settlement to the other settlement. And I think that's kind of what he's playing towards.
Yeah, he was.
But it's also Kojima, so
right. You never really know. He was out there saying, there were some tidbits. I think this was with when he was on with Jeff Keighley. Says even though you'll be able to shoot your way through the game, people realize that it's not the ideal option. Kojima reasserted that the goal of the game is to not fight the enemy or defeat them. The goal of the game is to reconnect the world. It'll have some sort of online aspect, but he can't comment on it about the moment. And then he went and talked about, using the tech from Guerrilla Games and how much the Decima engine helped them make what we saw, etc. But I think I almost don't care about watching a trailer for that game because I already know I'm probably going to get it. But I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to have more questions anytime I see that in the future till it comes out.
Yeah.
It's a Kojima game. Like they're a little weird when it comes to showing that stuff off. And it's always been that way. So we'll see. I just didn't think it was the best showing. Especially because they showed like Sony the conference sucked, but the games they showed, I think they had the best like lineup of stuff coming down the line that I'm most interested in. It all looked fucking great. Like Last of Us, Ghost looks great. Contact looks awesome. It's great.
I like that you just gave up on trying to pronounce Tsushima.
Oh, 100%. Also, a lot of people that when they were doing dev interviews yesterday, they were just calling it Ghost. They weren't saying the second part of the game.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
There was both that. There's actually a ton of information about all these other games that I guess we start throwing in here. So they're saying, I just have a huge bullet point list here. It's an open world game. It's grounded and realistic. So you're not going to be fighting demons or anything, which I'm fine with. That stuff that was actually shown at the conference was a side quest. That was not main story stuff, which is kind of cool to hear. Landscapes range from swaying bamboo forests to the countryside to urban centers of ornate castles. A lot of stories in the game that you might not find them all. The main storyline is Jin, who's the name of the main character that we saw, versus the Mongols. What else was important here? Theme of the combat is mud, blood, and steel. They also said something interesting. It said Sucker Punch teases that Jin's combat style abandoned some samurai techniques, swapping them for the, quote, violent grace of a silent assassin. So he's basically going to become a ninja, but also a samurai, which is, I'm into that. Where was this other thing? I said movement, it's an environmental theme. Expect everything to move, blowing trees, windy fields, falling leaves, which is great. That all looks cool. There will be a minimal game HUD, but they're not showing it just yet. I kind of hope you can just turn that all off and play like the way that it was shown during the conference. That would be really cool. Where was the other part of this? You can ride a horse. That horse's name is Nobu, so it's not Roach, although it might always be Roach for some people. You never know. And then there was this stuff called leaked info, so I don't know where they're getting this from. But the game has 2 central towns and smaller outpost villages. There's NPCs who can help you train in the ways of the ghost. And as for the samurai, it'd be a completely different form, a dishonorable way of combat. Don't expect Jin to be able to, right out of the gate, know how to throw kunai, use alchemy, etc., grappling hooks. You'll have to learn that stuff. 2 major skill tree with many branches. Way of the Samurai and Way of the Ghost. Where think of climbing buildings as a faster paced Assassin's Creed. Tenchu style grappling hook makes it even faster. Yeah, there's a couple more just little small tidbits, but I think that was the meat of that, which sounds great. I want to play that. I'm already sold on that game. I think that was a great showing for that, and I don't really need to see more. I just want to play on that. And then did they say that's 2019 or is that? I guess it's not in here. I don't know if they said any time for release.
Ghost of Sashimi.
Yeah, see if there's release date for it. Or not date, year. It's way too early to get a.
Don't think there was a date.
Yeah, chat's saying to be announced. So
yeah, release date TBC on the PlayStation Store too. So
gotcha.
Somebody in the chat asked why February is going to be such a big game release. It's because everybody is going to dodge the holiday season. There's Red Dead, isn't there?
You think they're getting out of the way for Red Dead?
I would.
Well, here's actually, you know what, Rami, I wanted to ask you about this because you may have some good info on this. A lot of them aren't even necessarily after Christmas or after the holidays. They're on a specific date, which is like February 22nd, right? Is that the end of a quarter, or is there a marketing or business thing here, or a tax thing?
It might be.
It's oddly specific.
It's also it depends on the day of the week. Let me check what kind of day that is, because the stores refresh better, like on specific days, and usually they try to hit Thursdays.
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. So they do it right after reset, right before the weekend. That's just an industry thing. I think we try to get towards the end of things, staying within specific quarters. For the companies, every company has sort of a different end of fiscal year. So it's the last Friday of the whole. It's the last Friday of the year for them, for many. So I think it's a combination of like trying to hit the reset, trying to hit fiscal year, trying to hit like still as close to holiday season as possible and as far as away from Red Dead Redemption as possible. So that's kind of what it is. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I would be terrified if I had to go up against Red Dead. Like,
You think it's going to be
unless
that?
you're the
Like, do you think that's because Rockstar's name's attached to it, or because Red Dead's a big enough franchise that people are just super crazy about it? Like, what, or is it both?
Both, I would say.
it's just not worth the gamble.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It just isn't. Like going up against Red Dead, if that is a big deal, why the hell would you be the one game in that week? Like you'll have within a day, you'll have Twitch and the press be like, "Yep, these idiots launched the day after Red Dead. What did you expect?"
That's
it's like,
true.
you don't
I
want to be
would
that
say
company.
something like that, Rami.
That sounds like those exact wordings, dude. These idiots launched after Red Dead.
Yeah.
I can hear JP's words saying that.
Exactly. What were we
As
saying,
somebody who has like so little hype for RDR2, it's so weird to me to think that these companies are basing success of their products around it. I don't know, man. Like, I know it's going to be big, but I didn't think it would be that big.
Were you not so much into the first one?
I got bored of it and couldn't even finish it. Like I got not spoiler wise, but I got to Mexico and I was just like, I have zero interest in where this is going. I have no attachment to any character, and I wasn't having a super amount of fun until that point. So, I mean, I'm going to finish it before RDR2 because people tell me, like JP has told me numerous times that it kind of picks up right after that and gets a lot better, and there's a really good ending. But
Mexico's
I don't know,
a little
man.
slow, but it builds back
it's
up.
just
Yeah,
it's weird. I've never
I can
put
understand
Red
that.
Dead on a
I can
pedestal.
get that.
Yeah.
I think Red Dead 2 or no Red Dead, not Red Dead 2. The first one depends a lot how people played it. If you go like crit path story, like it probably will be a little less dragging for you. It still is kind of a slow game, and like JP says, it kind of drags a little bit in Mexico when you do get to that part of the game. But it's such a vast like playground that, and there's all this little side stuff that can distract you. So I don't know if you got real like bogged down into that stuff and exploring the map, but that absolutely can add to like the droning and drag factor of that game.
Yeah.
That very well might have been it. 'Cause I certainly started the game kind of as like a, let's go everywhere and do everything, and every challenge we came across we do and stuff like that. And I just got to a point where I became uninvested in that and focused on the main story, and then I ran out of steam during that. So I was just kind of like, okay. But
I'm
yeah,
I'm
don't
getting
play it
my-
like I
gotta
normally
run. I have a meeting coming up, so I'm very sorry for having to bail already.
No problem. No problem.
Just the worst.
I know. And actually, the worst. There's this small thing in town called E3, and apparently I have to do some stuff there. It's messed up.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had 4 meetings about blockchain, and I never want to have a meeting about blockchain ever again.
Fuck. What the?
It
Stop.
was disgusting. Yeah, no, don't ever. I don't. What did I do?
That
Why
sounds
did
bad.
I?
That sounds bad.
It was not good. Anyway, this is not blockchain, so I'm not leaving you off of blockchain.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you for joining us all week long, by the way, Rami. Obviously, like E3, biggest week of the year, I think, for the industry, and you spent a lot of it with us here, so we appreciate that.
It was super fun. Thanks so much for having me. Also, thanks, chat, for being super nice. I had a great time. I look forward to being back and hopefully in the future doing another show where we can talk a little bit slower and some more stories. And then I'm gonna go do E3 stuff. I'll let y'all know whether Cyberpunk is good if I can get that demo.
Okay, will do. Yeah, please.
Here's the next thing.
Please.
Nice chatting with you, man.
DMs are open on Twitter, Rami. Keep me posted.
Will do. What is the thing called? Oh yeah.
There you go. Weird face.
Mm,
Just looking quick. Okay, there you go. I was gonna say look inquisitive, but I'll take that. Sure. Let's go with that. where to go from here? Do you want to? We mentioned Cyberpunk there. They've got out there and said a bunch more stuff. The biggest one's that it's a fucking first person game. What's going on with Cyberpunk? What's out there? What have you heard?
Okay, so Cyberpunk has essentially undergone a metamorphosis in the last 48-ish hours where it became we know about the world and setting to now we know what the game is. Oh my god, what a great picture up there.
I can't stop looking at it.
There's this really great list that's been released of what we know about Cyberpunk, and just in the off chance that no one has read this before, the big highlights are, first of all, the game is going to be first person. A lot of people don't know that yet, but the game is first person. And here is what I'll say to that, because I've been getting this question nonstop for the last day. Like, what do you think? What's going on? Is this terrible? Is the game done? And here's the deal. If you think Witcher 3, when you enter a house or something, you run around the house and you're spamming your A button. There's a desk. You run over to the general location of the desk and you hit A a bunch of times. No, nothing there. You go over to the other. There's a bed with 2 things on each side. You run up, you hit A on that side, hit A on that side. Cool, house is done, and you run out. And maybe there was some fun stuff in there that you kind of saw, but that's cool. That's it. But in a first-person game, you walk into that house, you walk over to that desk, and what do? You start looking at the desk. You look what's on the desk. You look what's under the desk. You look at the drawers. You look at the side. It becomes a completely different experience. You walk over to that bed. You move to the side table. You look at the side table. What's on it? What's by the bed on the side of it? Like, it's a completely different experience than third person. That experience is what sold me on my favorite game of all time, Deus Ex 1. So when they announced that Cyberpunk was in first person, that made me more excited for it. I know most of the internet is freaking out for the opposite reasons, but oh my god, man. We already know that the Cyberpunk world is going to be incredibly detailed. Cyberpunk is, CD Projekt Red has said it's the richest world they've ever created. And now that we know that we can in first person experience all of that directly, especially because we're creating our own character, so that puts even more immersion into it. Like, that is a huge plus in my opinion. So that just saying, I know a lot of people disagree with that, and that's cool. I mean, a lot of people prefer the control structure of third person. That's completely understandable. A lot of people find it a lot easier to play. That's I understand that.
Right.
But coming from a Fallout, Oblivion, Deus Ex style person, I always played those games in first person. So I can't wait to experience that too. So there are a couple other quick things. Multiple different progression systems. I'm reading this off a list I actually retweeted just a little bit ago.
Cool.
You do not pick classes. Class system is fluid and based on choices. Characters from the Cyberpunk 2020 lore are going to be in the game, which is awesome. There's 3 classes you start with, Netrunner, Techie, or Solo. And you can combine those classes later on, which is
what was the
awesome.
last one? Solo?
Solo. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, I think the premise is that the class is based around you being able to do stuff and not having to rely on other things. But again, they're being kind of tight-lipped about this.
Okay.
Story and quest system from Witcher 3 is in Cyberpunk. Choices and consequences are huge, but the main story is personalized by player choice. Combat is ranged and melee. Learned lessons from Witcher 3 FPS melee combat. So what I heard about in some of the stuff with the demo, which is pretty amazing, is apparently you can see an enemy down a hall, and then you can stealth and wall run up the wall, anchor against it in first person, take out 2 blades, and then drop down and shank the guy from the top. Doing that in first person sounds kind of awesome. However, it could also sound like it could be a little bit chaotic if they don't do it properly. And if the screen is moving around and bouncing and shit while you're doing all that, that could be almost distracting. But it could be amazing. So we'll have to see how they do that. There are 3 branches of weapons: power weapons, heavy hitting stagger weapons, tech weapons, which are penetrating through cover and have crazy effects like that, and then smart weapons, which track and follow targets. There's going to be vehicles, which is pretty cool. V is a fully voiced character, but it is a character creation. So even though your character is voiced, you still do create your character. There are male and female variants.
Okay.
Details of the world, everything has a purpose. World design was a huge focus in setting the tone, which again goes back to the first person thing. I think that'll synergize nicely. 6 unique districts in the city. Exploration highly encouraged. Witcher was horizontally huge. Cyberpunk is vertically huge. When you can enter buildings, mega buildings do exist as well, with multiple floors and multiple areas to explore within a single building. No level scaling, but 2 forms of XP. There's core experience that goes to your character, and then there's something called street cred, which is kind of like your reputation, but it's an actual experience pool that then gets you like new missions, new side stuff opens up, things like that. And yeah, that's kind of like there definitely some more info out, but that's kind of the big stuff. And there's actually apparently more news that's going to be announced throughout the course of E3, and there's apparently something else going on at the end of E3. And also one other Cyberpunk related thing, user on Reddit, one of the ones that cracked the code for the ARG game that they're doing, got an email from the company that makes the car in the trailer asking for his physical address so they can send him a package.
Man. What if he gets a car? What if they send him a fucking car?
That could be fun. But the good news, the really good news about this is I have yet to see, and this is just I have yet to see. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have yet to see somebody who has played the Cyberpunk demo that has not said it has at least met expectations.
Yeah,
I have not yet seen a single person say, I played the Cyberpunk demo and I didn't like it, or I hate the first person, or it's unplayable like this. I haven't seen any of that, and I have been looking for it. Yeah. So it may just be the E3 hype. You know, realistically, let's be honest here. It could just be that everyone's super hyped for it and it's the first thing they've seen. Or it could mean that we may have an absolutely amazing game on our hands.
Yeah, there was a bunch of journalists that usually are pretty grounded around hype, and they were kind of saying, like, if you can see this game, you should probably go see this game. It's looking pretty good. So,
and I'm sorry, I said played it. What I should have said is I believe it was a guided tour.
Yes,
a
demo. Yeah, it was like a guided tour with everybody.
Gameplay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But to be clear though, they were watching the game being played.
Right.
Yeah, it was actual gameplay. That's just like one of those things. They huddle you into a room. There's like kind of little bit of like bleachers. Everybody like sits in there. There's a good sound system, and then they play the demo.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
kind of deal.
I was trying to get Jesse on the show to talk about it, but he's in meetings all week. I think he'll be on the co-optional later this week. I think they're doing a show Friday, and he'll probably be talking about his experience there. He also tweeted out a lot of the stuff that he saw, and did a pretty good amount of Q&A on that on Twitter. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good.
I mean, it's CD Projekt Red, right? Like,
right.
They take their time with their games, and people can look at Witcher as an example of just like what they're capable of. Like, they're fantastic devs, and they've taken a hard stance from the beginning of like, it'll be done when it's done, and we're going to do it right. We understand like everyone has enormous expectations of it, as they should. Mm-hmm. And they're taking it seriously from what they've shown now too. Like, I just wish I was able to see the demo. That's one of the games that I'm really pissed that I wasn't there to see.
They might put it out. If they're going to release something this week, that might be what is out there.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people, including myself, are hoping, is that hopefully at the end of E3, they're going to be like, oh, and everyone that wanted to see that demo we were showing, here's a YouTube link. That's the hope.
That'd definitely be a solid move. It would,
keep the hype
internet
running.
Yeah, dislike that.
Exactly. Yeah, be a good way to keep that out there. Also, the person running that social media account, they're good at their job. they know what they're doing. Everyone that I've seen that's like tweeted or has like has a wide audience on social media is like they're responding to them appropriately, and it's cool to see that. It's really cool to see that.
I definitely tweeted them an hour ago. So right at the beginning of the show, and I said, hey, Cyberpunk game guys, I'm looking around for a bit, but I couldn't find a good source for this info. Do you have a merch store up anywhere? And they replied 13 minutes ago with no, and a picture of that little kid getting interviewed that just starts crying.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
It's like, man, I don't know how much they're paying you, but you need a raise.
They wished me good night the other night, so it's kind of cool.
They responded to a lot of people, and I just wanted to like tweet at them to be like, hey,
I exist.
But then I was like, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
No, don't do that, Max. Don't be that guy.
I wasn't that guy till they told me to good night, and now I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna tag them in almost all my tweets and see what happens.
Hey, Cyberpunk, I'm pooping right now. What are toilets like, in the future?
What are they like in in your game? How does it? Can you?
That's when it just replies with the awkward like.
Yeah. Do I need to use the restroom on a normal basis in your game? How does that work? One of
the replies that I saw was like, somebody saying first person, when they announced it was first person and all that stuff. So like, first person, are you kidding me? And they're like, yeah, it's first person, but it's not always first person. You're still gonna be able to see your character. Like it's an RPG.
Yeah.
They like just kind of quelled that very, very tactfully, nicely without being super rude. They're like, no, you're gonna be able to see the world. It's fine, don't worry, and you'll be able to see your character because their gripe was like, well, we're gonna invest all this time in character customization. You're not gonna be able to see your character. It's like, come on, like, what do you think they're really gonna do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like,
excited for it.
if they do it like they did in Witcher, every single dialogue will probably be like, here's your character.
Yeah.
Here's their character. Here's your, like, so,
There's
yeah.
so many
And then, of course,
cutscenes and like
Mhm.
different chances to pan out to your character. You're gonna see it all the time.
I'm excited for it. I hope they put that gameplay stuff out. If not now, maybe Gamescom or something like that. Maybe we'll see more of it. Now that they've kind of started their whole, PR chain of that game, I hope we get to see more.
Yeah, like they're starting to ramp up, which is nice because I know everybody's been like, we know it's coming, but when? And please show us something.
Yeah, now we got.
But again, I absolutely respect them and any other game studio nowadays, especially in today's environment of like the quickness and expectation of people like show me everything you have right now, like, and most devs do cave to that kind of thing. I like the hey, show me it when it's significant and when
when it means
you're getting close to release.
Yeah.
I'm getting real tired of seeing a game and then forgetting about it, and like 2 years or 3 years later, we're like, remember us? I'm like, I do. That was a long time ago. I kind of don't care.
Yeah. Insert Kingdom Hearts 3 right here because that's about that game is for even me, who's like a big fan of Kingdom Hearts. Like, just stop. I don't need 3 fucking trailers in one conference for the game. You're done. Just stop. No one cares about the story because no one understands it unless they've played all the games.
That's also why I'm okay with Bethesda just being like, yep, we're doing Elder Scrolls. Now shut up about it. We're going to go back to work.
Yeah. That was an interesting.
When they showed that, I think it's funny too that people are like, so what do you think of Elder Scrolls? What do you think of what they showed? They just showed that they were working on it. They gave the
title screen. Ish.
That was Bethesda saying, shut the fuck up, internet. Yes, we're working on it. Okay, now we can go back to working on it.
Yeah, I agree.
I prefer that over like, here's what we have so far. It looks really cool, doesn't it? Yeah. Now when's it come out? Because that's always the immediate question after any trailer, anything that dev shows. It's like, show me it when it's relevant and when it's coming out pretty soon. Because I don't want to be balled for several years.
Yeah. I agree. We are going to talk Fallout 76 because there's a lot more information out there thanks to Danny and NoClip. But I want to take a stark turn and talk about Sekiro, which is the new From Software game. Because there's a lot of information out there that I'm super hyped for. Some of the biggest part of it was the combat system and I hope it's in here. They basically said that you're not going to have HP meters. You're going to have like the equivalent of poise, I think it is what it was. I got to find this before I start just saying wrong things and the internet beats me up. I thought it was in there. Let's see.
This E3 too seemed like a really good time to be somebody who's a fan of like the Souls types of games, the games that will punish you. Like there was a lot of that, and it's just like I have multiple friends who I'm sure they were just had giant boners watching all of these.
Yeah. Here it is. It says while Katao, I guess, is a developer, was unwilling to give too many specifics on the combat systems, I could safely say that Sekiro is unlike anything we've seen from in other From Software games. Instead of hacking away at an enemy's health bar, Katao says famed director Miyazaki wanted to capture the feel of swords clashing. While there's still HP, combat revolves around posture. When you attack an enemy, they'll easily block your attack, but will lose posture each time. Once lowered enough, they'll be open to a gory finishing move, but the same goes for you. As enemies attack, blocking lowers your posture unless you block perfectly, similar to parrying in Dark Souls. With a perfect block, you'll actually throw the enemy off balance and lower their posture instead. In this way, combat in Sekiro feels more authentic to a sword duel, a battle of attrition as each tries to desperately create an opening to deliver a fatal strike. That sounds great, because that means I can no longer just hold a shield.
Yeah, not only that, but that's an absolutely awesome premise, because even when we were watching Ghost of Tsushima, like that duel at the end where it's the dude and the chick and it's all epic and there's rose petals in the background.
Right.
You watch that duel and that dude connects with giant slices like 5 times, like right down her chest. Like, it's like, dude, if that actually happened, she would just like that. That's the fight ended 10 times in front of us. So it's cool to see a game kind of like addressing the fact where it's like, actually, when swords connect, that's usually when the fight ends.
Yeah.
Like that's generally when it stops, is when one of them gets their sword in the other person. That's it. So kind of fun to see a studio heading that direction.
Yep. Some of the other tidbits that were kind of interesting to hear. There was an option to make it a Tenchu game, but Tenchu was originally a series made by many different developers, each with their own characteristics. They thought that it would end up imitating them in the end, so they gave up on that. The time is set near the end of the Sengoku warring period in Japan. Like all other games before this, it isn't at an actual location, but it is in high altitude, cold country. Japan was splintered into countries during this time. It begins at the end of the Sengoku era, also holds the nuance that the country may be at its end, as Japan soon will be unified. Realism wasn't something that they were too concerned with. As with Dark Souls, it's constructed according to their own interpretation. The game has a this is kind of a big one for Souls fans, one way or the other. The game is a fixed protagonist, but it's not a linear, story-driven game. The story does revolve around the character, but beyond that, nothing has changed in our stance to storytelling from the previous games. So no character creation, but not a true like story-driven game is how I interpret that. Kind of a different take than, what Souls people are used to.
That'd be cool.
In this game, when you meet an enemy, you won't be immediately plunged into battle. The levels are designed to let you observe and think about how to take them on. You can also listen in on enemies who aren't in combat. The ninja prosthetics are to support the combat parts of the game. Shuriken, Firecracker, Hidden Axe, and other variations. Choose a few items before, then choose on site. Use them probably like Tenchu. Map design is close to Dark Souls 1 with a few exceptions. It is seamlessly connected three-dimensional map. The reason, this is the other thing, there's no online play because they want to focus on making the single-player experience fun. Totally okay with that. I play the game offline anyway as a streamer, so fuck it, I don't care. But the PvP fans of the first, of the Souls games, that might not, they might not be into that. That might kind of alienate some people.
Yeah, but then I'm sure there's people that are totally okay with not being invaded while they're, trying to play the goddamn game,
Right.
So I think there's a lot of people that are relieved that that's not a thing and they can just focus on enjoying the game.
Yeah.
I know this is a weird thing to say these days, but not every game needs multiplayer.
I agree. Thank God
It's
we're kind
okay.
of through that phase.
Yeah.
Well, some people are through that phase. Other people, not so much. Some people don't even believe that single-player story-driven experiences make money. So, we're still kind of fighting that. But we'll see how it goes. That game's probably ways off.
What do you think about the giant snake at the end?
Looks great. Hope I don't have to fight it.
I'd love to fight it. I would love to get fucking bite me. Fucking stick your venom. No, it just looked cool. Even if I get fucked up by that snake, it just looked really cool.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a really cool thing to experience.
It does. It looks like a lot of fun. There were some other details for Last of Us Part 2, but before we talk about those details, Max, what did you think of first off, are you a big Last of Us fan? Are you into that universe, that world?
I have not played Last of Us single player, and I know that's real unpopular. I know. It's coming up on stream. It's this is a good time. This is a good time to get into. Shut up, chat. I don't care.
Well, you and Baru both have not played Last of Us. I don't.
I played the multiplayer a whole bunch. I always wanted to play. I know. I'm gonna play it. I will. I know that it's good. I'm gonna play it. It's gonna happen. Calm down. I can just see the chat in my periphery right now, just freaking the fuck out. It's
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm not
play it.
Yeah.
However,
he's good
I have
right
seen little, to use your word of today, tidbits of people playing it here and there, obviously in moderation to not spoil the story for me, and that's also why I'm not looking at your chat. Because it looks really, really cool, and I know I'm gonna have a good time. I know it's a really nice story and a great gaming experience, especially if you're talking story-based linear games. But I'm honestly excited to play it because of the fact that The Last of Us 2 is now, starting to ramp up on when it's going to be coming out. So it's a perfect time for me to play it.
Yeah, you should play that game.
Not the answer you were looking for, JP.
No. It is, because it just means that I get to tell more people to fucking play Last of Us. That we had that same conversation with Baru, and he's playing it this week. So, or this weekend.
Can't play every game, JP. Sometimes there's some games that fall through the cracks. That was one
This
of them for
isn't
me.
every game though, Max. It's not.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing that's gonna suck though, because I did. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I pull up Yassi Mexican's video history. So that game's better than Last of Us, huh? Oh, that game's better than Last of Us, huh? Oh, that one is, huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what I'm gonna do though, because I made the mistake. Erin played Last of Us after I like fucking begged her to play it. Like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. But I hyped it up to where she played the game and was like, I mean, it was okay. Like, it wasn't amazing or anything. And I just play the game. I'm not going to say anything to it or about.
That's what I do for things that I really care about now too. Like, if I really, really enjoy something and I want somebody else to experience it, like if for Amanda, I'll just be like, just play it. It's cool. I mean, it's cool. It's all right. It's cool. And then you got to play it. You downplay a little bit, because if you do overhype it, the same thing with movies or anything like that, media wise, it's just like, then people go in with this false expectation. You never know how people are going to take something that you really enjoy.
Yeah. And it sucks when they're just like, yeah, it was okay, I guess. It's like, God.
I'm going to come back on this show and be like, P, I mean, I guess I get why people like it, but I don't know. Interesting.
And yeah, I was not that interested though. So there was some details out, like I was saying. Some of the bigger ones. Combat has increased emphasis on tension, interactivity, and realism. If it gets more tense than some of those scenes in Last of Us 1, it's going to be a little crazy. You now have a jump button, which was kind of an interesting one. There's also it says 2 different timelines are explored in The Last of Us 2. So I wonder if they're going to do like what that trailer is, where it's, pre everyone dies in that church and post everyone dies in that church, or how they're going to go about that. And I hope they don't tell us until the game actually comes out. They've expanded on the infected enemies, and they've added whole new classes of them, different ammo types. The animation system is completely overhauled, so everything is even more realistic and transitions are seamless. We saw that in the actual trailer. I would love to see what else is out there. AI system massively improved for added realism. There's no more auto AI telepathic awareness once you're spotted. They whistle to and actually communicate with each other. It's cool. That was kind of an annoyance in the first one, where everyone just knew the second you were spotted. Enemy awareness and ability to seek player out improved. You can now craft. I already said that. The demo is set 4 years after the events of The Last of Us in Jackson. The Seraphite, which was the religious cultish group, is a religious cultish group, but they won't be black and white. Their motivations are explored. Max, take your headphones off for a second.
Okay.
It says Joel is somewhere out there in Jackson. Mm-hmm. So he's
mentioned.
He's mentioned
in the trailer.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He says your old man. I remember that. And then lots of new facial animation tech. And the
Are we good for Max?
Yeah, Max. Go ahead and you're good. Yeah.
Hi.
30 minutes later.
Yeah, sorry. The other one that they said is the eyeball tech is also reworked and now includes internal refractions, reflections, and so on. I'd have to go
love
watch
me
that.
some eyeball tech.
Yeah, I'd have to go watch that trailer again to see how that actually looks. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm rewatching it right now. People are dancing and stuff, and man, the eyeballs just look really good.
Do they? They got some good balls, eyeballs. Yeah.
No, JP, though, about what you said earlier, what was interesting about the trailer is it started in the dance, and then when the other character, I don't remember her name, the non-Ellie girl in the thing there, when she told Ellie that she was like a beast, or everyone's scared of you or something, then it cut to the other stuff, showed all the stuff she did,
right,
and then when it cut back to her, it was like, that's why they're scared of you. So I'm wondering if the time schism is between making your reputation and having your reputation.
Maybe. I mean, it could go either way, right? Like,
it also, she made a couple points during that, like, everyone's looking at me. Like, there's a reason that they would be, holding her up on some kind of pedestal. So I don't know. It seems like it could be a lot of fun. It's clear they're going to be playing around with this a little bit. Kind of sad we didn't see the dad in the trailer, but
yeah,
a lot of people think that's not it. Oh, I'm just taking guessing.
Right, we're all guessing at this point. Exactly. but that game looks fucking phenomenal. That looks great. And then I think, apart from that, I don't really know if there's anything else out that's new. But we can kind of go around here and just talk about some of the high points. I think for me, like in terms of stuff, I always say like I'm most excited for what's not known, what's a surprise. Dying Light 2 was the biggest surprise of the show for me.
For me too, and I'm so stoked because that game's a weird thing because it was a really good quality game and I enjoyed it so much. But I think myself, like many other content creators and just people in general, forgot about that game. Like it just, for whatever reason, that game just got swept under the rug after it was done. It like had its time and they had another expansion that came out and I was stoked on playing that for a while. And everybody just forgot about it. Me too. Like I always like, then it pops back up and I'm like, what was that fucking game with the parkour and the zombies? And I really enjoyed it, but for some reason I cannot put my finger on why that's pretty common across the board. I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with that? Like, do you feel the same way?
I think I'm on what you're saying. I think Ko is a pretty big fan of Dying Light 1, so he might have been super about it.
I was too. Dying Light fan. Yeah. I was super hyped. I did the DLC when it came out, and like I played through the game again for the DLC, and I only beat it a day or two before. But the thing is like Dying Light is probably, if not one of my favorite takes on zombie games ever. I've always felt like the whole like just slowly moving around while zombies are fighting. Like, why wouldn't you be try to do parkour and shit? You know, these guys are shambling. Do some cool stuff. And that action element of the parkour in the zombie game just kicks the entire thing up a level. So yeah, to hear with the Dying Light 2 stuff and then to have Chris be the one writing the story, he is famous for making like in-depth, crazy looks at the human condition kind of story stuff. And then the Dying Light 2 is mostly going to be people from the looks of it. I mean, there might be some zombies and stuff, but in the trailer, it was 80-90% people. Did we even see zombies in the trailer? I don't even remember.
Very end for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
not a lot.
So this is a very interesting new take. And this may actually be turning the game from zombie parkour game to like dystopian humanity parkour game. And I'm all about that. Especially with Chris.
That's totally cool.
I'm all about that.
Yep.
Especially in terms of like progression and stuff like that. Like eventually the zombie menace is going to be kind of controlled and whatever. And yeah, like as the trope goes, the people that you need to worry about in a zombie apocalypse is people. Like,
right.
They're a lot more dangerous. That's for sure.
Exactly.
I just want more of that game. That game was fucking fantastic. That was one of the games that like, they're like, yeah, we're going to do parkour. And they did parkour like in a way that was satisfying and like, this is exactly what I wanted.
I think the biggest thing about that game was it came out at a time when everyone was doing zombie games.
Yeah.
And it stood out as a good one, which was hard to do. So yeah, and a lot of that was the parkour stuff. I remember when that was first announced, they're like, "Oh yeah, parkour, blah blah blah." It's like whatever. That doesn't. Then you saw, it and you're like, "Huh, okay, that actually, that looks pretty good."
I'm down to play through it again just to prep for. Did they mention? I can't remember. Did they mention like a timeline for when Dying Light 2 was coming out, or is it just like a hey, we're doing it, and then like a vague like summer of whatever? You know, I can't remember.
I just looked at my.
I'm sure chat knows. Someone. They're saying 2019. I imagine it would be 2019. I don't think it would release this year.
Yeah. They also said it takes place 15 years after the first game, so that's a lot of time.
That's cool.
In a zombie apocalypse.
Plenty of time for them to play with.
Yeah. What were you saying, Ko? I cut you off.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just happened to look at my Steam list because I'm getting it installed because I'm actually just like, yes, I'm going to replay Dying Light and all the DLC before the new one comes out. 52 hours in that game.
Damn.
Yeah.
52 hours. I can't imagine many other zombie games that I've spent half that time in. Like it's
I'm gonna have to replay it as well.
Yeah. Well,
hey, you know what? Oh, go ahead.
Can you do that entire game co-op? How does that work?
Yeah, I believe so. If my memory serves, you can do the entire game co-op. I don't think there's any.
Okay.
Maybe Chad can confirm this. It's been a while since I touched that game, but I'm pretty certain. No, I saw one person say no, but most of the people say yes. Like 95% of it is what I'm saying. Yeah, so most of it you can.
Did it release? Is that what you said, Ko?
I remember there was like a DLC that, but I can't remember if the DLC added co-op or if it was always co-op.
I think it might have always been.
It was always co-op.
Oh yeah, okay. People saying it was always
co-op. Yeah.
There was a big like headlining feature the DLC added, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It's not if it wasn't co-op. Let me see here.
Yeah, like pretty much all of the game. I think people are saying that like the last part you can't play together because everybody is like the main character in that game. There's no like side characters. You're all just kind of collectively going forward and playing as the main character, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I might have to. I never finished that. That's actually Aaron's
never
like
finished it?
favorite
the
zombie
Beatles.
game. So
Thanks, chat. I think that was it.
If you want to co-op it, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just play it on my own because
is it 4-player co-op? How many people can play it?
I believe so. I think it was 4-player. Again, I'm just gonna use chat as a crutch, JP.
Yeah. When all else fails, say something, and then just look at chat for confirmation. It's 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm right.
4 players.
Or Max is right. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think what else was kind of out there that was a big surprise that I'm.
Trials was announced. That's exciting for me. I like Trials.
Yeah, I was never really a big Trials guy, but I know that they exist.
Try that.
Good multiplayer content as a YouTube content creator. Like that's just a really easy, fun, silly thing to play, you know, and even to stream for like party games and things like that. I'm pretty stoked on that. It'll be
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah. Well, Neo 2. Oh my god. We
That's
have. I mean,
true.
it was a teaser trailer. So like basically for teasers, we have like Starfield, ES6, Neo 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I cannot. The first one was so good. I can't wait for Neo 2. And then I gotta admit, I knew it was coming. Still blew me away. Resident Evil 2 remake. That was gorgeous to the point where I didn't even know what I was looking at for the first little bit, and it made me wonder like how much are they changing in this? Because I noticed that there were some scenes that I remember from RE2, but it looked like there were some things happening in them that didn't happen in RE2. So I'm wondering like, is this a scene by scene remake, or is this like a
Reimagining
like
or
we're just
something.
remaking the game completely?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Apparently there's a 20-minute gameplay video out there. We showed a little bit, I think, of that the other day, but
I'll have to check that out. That'll answer a lot of questions.
yeah,
Okay.
chat's saying it's a remake. That it's not a remaster.
New story.
So
Someone said new story in chat. Is that? No. I mean, it's still. I mean, we still saw Jill. We still saw. I always forget his name. Is it Chris?
Leon.
Redford, is
Leon.
that?
Not
Leon?
Chris, it's
Yeah.
Leon. Yeah.
Oh, it's Leon. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I think
Claire. I called her. Yeah, it's Claire. I called her the wrong one last time too. It's
fine.
Chris and Jill, and then Leon and Claire. Is that how it is?
Yeah. I believe that's correct. Yeah, I think Anthony Kong fans tweeted out that he played that and said it was fucking great. So seems like it's going to
Good to
be
hear.
like a lot of people are super stoked for that. I guess I underestimated the fandom of Resident Evil 2, but it's coming out. And the release date it's January. I think that January 29th, 2019 is when that ships. I believe that's what was at the end of that trailer. And people were 25th. People are pretty stoked about that. So it wasn't necessarily a surprise. They'd said that they've been working on that for a while, but I think the surprise is the release date tied to it for sure. So we will see.
I think you're forgetting one of the most important things that was announced at E3.
All right, I can't tell if this is a joke or serious. Where are we at? What is it?
Space Prop Hunt's coming to Prey.
Oh, that's right. Dude, when that got announced, I immediately was like, oh my God, Gassy Mexicans freaking out.
We did it!
Yeah. I texted
Now-
both of you.
Before the show happened, like I talked to some people at Bethesda about like, you know, their upcoming stuff. And during that conference, during the little conference call, I talked to them. I'm like, please just let me know if you're doing this or not. Because I've tweeted at you guys multiple times just to make Prop Hunt in the game. It's built into the mechanics of mimics and all that stuff. And they turn the camera off and they like, huddle, real quick to like, hey, should we tell them? And then they got real close to the camera like, hey, just between us, just don't say anything until we announce it. It's coming. We saw your tweet. I was like, apparently they already had it kind of in their, they were already, I don't know if they were into the stages of developing it or whatever, but they already like were planning on kind of doing that. And when they said like, they're like, yes, we saw your tweets. I'm like, all right, sorry for bothering you, but like I really wanted that in the game. It's just, it's a no brainer, and it would have been a goddamn mistake if you guys didn't do it. And also, of course, the Moon Crash DLC, which I've sunk my teeth into a little bit of.
Yeah, you
that's
both have.
fun.
We can talk about that for a bit if you want, because you guys have both played it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kel, what do you think about it?
Oh, I was gonna let you go. Man, okay. I have played 2 days of the Moon Crash DLC now, and it is one of the most unique experiences I've had in a first-person RPG. Like, it is
Yep.
awesome. So it is the definition of a roguelite adventure where you start with a character. There is this large, pretty like moon base, basically. And you start with this character. You have a corruption bar that's constantly going up, and you have to do all sorts of stuff on these multiple run encounters. It's almost hard to describe because it's so unique. I can't compare it to other stuff. So
Yeah.
just to give you an idea of the gameplay loop. So you start, there's a meta game, first of all, involving this character in a simulator and this whole kind of story and thing going with that. And then when you go into the simulator, you choose a character. You start with one. And then when you're in the simulation, the goal is to escape. But the big thing is every time you go in the simulator, almost everything randomizes. So it's a different experience every time. And then when you're in there, as you accomplish things, it not only gives you points to use between the simulations, but in some cases, each character has a quest that you have to do. Each character gets a bonus for escaping certain ways. Some characters need to synergize to escape their certain ways. So like a good example is this kind of like Psy character, and his preferred method of escape is through this device that needs the engineer character to get working for him. So you have to, it's almost like this synergistic, thing where you have to use one character to repair it, then you have to use another character to hack into it, then you have to escape with this third character. And meanwhile, the entire time you're trying to piece all this stuff together, the game is continually getting harder. Every time a corruption level goes up, more enemies spawn, the enemies that are there get harder, more hazards pop up. Every door can be randomized. So every door can be locked or unlocked or broken, needing to get through. And then put all of this on top of it. And every time you reset the simulation, you get to basically spend a bunch of points on stuff. There's like a store. And if you've unlocked certain things in the game, which are these crafting things, then you can buy those for your character for the next run. If you've unlocked perks and stuff, which are in these implants, you can then put those perks in at the beginning. Sometimes you need some of these items to do some of the quests. I mean, there is so much thought that has gone in to just this that it could almost be a standalone game on its own. And it's been awesome so far. Like, it's blown me away so far in terms of just how every time I play it, every 30 minutes that I play it, I find something new or interesting. Oh, by the way, like the weapons and stuff, it's almost like a PoE style system. When a weapon drops or you randomly find one, first it's colored. So it's either blue, green, or gold for elite weapons. And then there are random upgrades applied to them. So you may have like reload upgrades or power upgrades or clip upgrades. And then some of them have special effects. Like today I got a pistol that had this crazy little power up piston thing on it that added fire damage just out of nowhere because I found it. I found a wrench. It makes it so everything I hit that can't use psi abilities. And there's also new enemy types. There's new weapons. The whole location is new. And then you, of course, have this meta game sitting on top of it that you're trying to work through as well. And there's a huge amount more that I haven't even got to yet. I've been playing this game for 8 hours now, and I finally just got the first step done on one of the characters for their quest. So yeah, it's cool.
The only
I'm
thing
having a
that I
really
was
good time.
going to ask you about is the only thing that I find a little bit, and this is just a gripe, and it is as intended, but the corruption level thing, I like it, but I also dislike it because of the play style that I have with these types of games, especially something like the Prey, world and environment that they built, because it's such a level of attention to detail that you just want to explore. And even if you played through the first one, which I'm sure you have, being able to explore and just find these little secret areas, even just like under some stairs, whatever, like they'd leave little tidbits of like cool loot and stuff that you could explore and find. But if you take too long in this, the corruption keeps going up and it gets harder and harder. So you're almost in a way punished for exploring. But, of course, you can go through on another run. What's the highest corruption you've got to? Because obviously it goes to level 5 corruption, and then you just die if you. Well,
it's kind of interesting because I had maybe 3. Like what's really cool is, first of all, you hit the nail on the head. And when I first played for like the first hour or two, I was actually pretty frustrated as well because I was trying to explore the base. I was trying to find it out.
Same.
But what's really cool is they put in the hourglasses. So what I found is that if you do enough exploring, there are these hourglass items that when you use them, it lowers your corruption level. So as long as you kind of keep the pace up exploring, you tend to be able to balance your corruption a little bit. But that being said, I mean, again, I've been playing this for 8 hours. The furthest I've ever got is 2 people escaping. And starting a third character, and then I died on him. And by that point, I was at like 3 corruption. The goal of this game is to have all 5 people escape in their preferred methods before the corruption timer gets to 5. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. like at this point, I'm just like, what do you do? So that's been real. Oh, also, while I'm looking at this, what's also really cool is every time you do a run, you get neuromods like you would in Prey to level up. That stuff's persistent.
Yeah,
so
the fact
as
that
your characters gain power, they're getting new abilities, they're getting inventory upgrades, you're getting better abilities to hack, better ways to repair things. So even though you're doing the simulation over and over, there's a palpable feeling of your power kind of increasing.
The progression, yeah.
And then the store and stuff, as you unlock things to buy on there, it just gets better and more intuitive. Your runs get faster and faster as you learn the layout. So I have a feeling by the time you actually beat this game, you're going to know this place like the back of your hand, and you're just going to be going point to point to point to point. You're going to have a layout in your head. Like, I can't wait to see
speedrunner's dream. Like, I can't wait to see people speedrun this shit because it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be so cool to just see them fly through, and I'm going to be like, that took me so long. It's absolutely surpassed all expectation that I've had. Someone, Anthony Birch, who I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, and writer from Gearbox and things like that. He said, Prey Moon Crash is absolutely fascinating. It's Groundhog Day plus a roguelike all wrapped up into one of the best immersive sims of the past 5 years. That's perfect way of putting it. Like, that's what it is. It's great. Being able to revisit a game like this where, again, like the level of detail in the environment that they design for these games is just so cool. And it's massive. I kept like exploring and just like, just be like, oh shit, it's an entirely new area that is just a whole nother level of complexity. And I was like, oh, you guys really went to town on this. At first I was like, oh, is it going to be just the same kind of areas over and over and over again and not much to them? But that randomization factor, being able to customize your weapons and get those different tiers. I mean, it's a roguelike, right? And the fact that they put the persistent, neuromods, that was the one thing I was worried about when I started playing. I'm like, those motherfuckers better not take away my neuromods because those are hard to find. And if you just take that away from me. But no, I'm going to keep sinking time into it. And yeah, I echo pretty much everything Ko was saying and more. Like, I fucking love this game. And the fact that they're going to release the Typhon Hunt mode, otherwise aka Space Prop Hunt.
That's cool.
So excited.
I was actually pretty excited for that. Ko, someone was asking you a question in chat. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah. Okay. So somebody asked, so let me get this straight. The layout of the map, it doesn't randomize? No. The way that it works is I believe there's 4 key things that randomize. Every bit of loot is randomized. And, again, when you're talking about any container or person can have like a gold amazing weapon, it really does feel random. And that is for every container and corpse. But every time you find a corpse, for instance, for the first time, it tracks that and gives you experience for it. So there's completely random loot, completely random hazards. And this is really interesting. Like, they showed this in the trailer. You'll walk into a room, and sometimes the pipes on the left will be on fire and shooting fire across it. Sometimes there'll be radiation barrels, and you have to figure out how to get around that. Sometimes the ground is water and electrified. That stuff is all over the place. And each of those rooms is like a little puzzle and how you're going to get by it with your current character. Then every door state is randomized. Every door has like a key or a method to opening it. Sometimes doors just work. In fact, I got super lucky in my run because apparently this really tough door that you have to like go to the other side of the base to get a key card for just happened to be unlocked in my run, and I got an unlocked character on the other side, which was super awesome. And then finally, I don't remember what the big 4th pillar is, but there's another randomization aspect as well that they get into that, again, just adds more and more. But the way the level itself, the moon base, is basically like a triangle with like the crater in the middle, and then there's like the crew quarters, the moon place, and the laboratory. And that stays the same. But when you moved, the monsters. Yes, that's right. The last one is the monsters. Every area has randomized enemies. And also it's important to mention that every single time your corruption level goes up, new hazards can be added, door states can flip, enemies can be added, and in some cases, stronger enemies will be added. So, and the corruption goes up like, depending on if you're not managing it well, it can go up like every 30 minutes. You're talking about like the whole screen gets darker and sound effects go up and it's like corruption level increased.
It's very obvious when the corruption level increases and you're like, oh fucking shit. Like, I've been to corruption level 5 and it gets interesting.
What was it like? I can only imagine. Like, was it just
every single monster that you encounter has a 5 on their name, and so everything that you've fought is just like, I had like 3 typhons that were like a fire, electricity, and whatever, like just fucking pounding my shit. My technique was literally go up an elevator, come back down because I had like 20 health, like do my Psy Blast, go back up the elevator, come back down, and then I eventually died because I ended up killing myself with my own Psy Blast because they were close to me.
I did that earlier today.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. Great to hear.
I saw a bunch of questions in chat. One, this is Prey. This DLC. Is it standalone, or do you have to own the base game as well?
No.
Okay.
It is a $20 product. It comes with, it is Prey Moon Crash. It is different enough to the point where when you open up Prey, you click on the Prey Moon Crash, Prey closes, and a new application opens up, and that is Prey Moon.
It's separate in that regard.
Okay.
Yes. And for also another question somebody asked in chat is Prey a roguelite? No. The Prey Moon Crash, which is the DLC, is a completely separate product. It is in the Prey universe, but it is in a different location. It's on a moon and all that kind of stuff. Another thing is, I'm going to say this straight up. I was very concerned about this product when I saw the price tag. I was like, you're going to charge $20 for a DLC? Like, I don't know about that. Now that I played it for 8 hours,
you get it.
I completely see why it's $20. Like, I've played this game for 8 hours, and I am, like I said, I don't even have one of the characters unlocked. I've only started one of the characters' missions. I've never even made it to the rank 4 of corruption. I've escaped in 2 different ways of 5. Like, it's just, I've even found one of the ways to escape. Apparently you can escape in a mass driver. Awesome. Where's that? I haven't found it yet. I completely understand why this is a $20 DLC, because I'm probably going to spend 20 plus hours into this alone. And I'm sure people could go even further. Yeah. So yeah, it's, after playing it, they call it a DLC, but it's almost something different.
It's a DLC in the sense that it requires Prey as a base game in order to play it. So it's a DLC in that regard. But if you obviously that kind of sucks for people that just want to play, this content. But Prey is a fantastic game on its own. So if you're worried about like buying garbage, it's not garbage. Play the single player game. You'll enjoy it as well. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's really good.
Even better, if you can wait a little bit, I'm sure there will be an edition out soon that includes both of them. And again, Prey, when I finished the original Prey, I thought it was going to be my game of the year when I finished it. Now, granted, I was in the minority in that, but what I'm trying to say is it's a decent game. If you don't like Prey, you'll hopefully at least think it's a decent game if you like that game.
Yeah. At the very least, I think most people would think it's a decent game. What were you going to say, JP?
Chat was saying there's already a deluxe edition for $40, which have both.
For 40?
There you go.
Yeah.
I would say Prey and Moon Crash is easily worth $40. Absolutely. That's in my opinion is a no-brainer.
Cool. Max, what was your big what was the hypest thing for the show? Have you already said what you're just like, oh fucking shit, I can't fucking wait.
Oh fucking shit. That's exactly how I sounded too, because I was all hopped up.
I know you were on drugs, so I was giving him
lava coming out my face. Honestly, and it's gonna be interesting to see people's reaction, but I'm pretty fucking hyped for Fallout 76. I didn't have really, exactly.
Let's talk about it.
I know people are going to be very opinionated and people have probably been waiting for us to talk about it, but let's dig into it. I think it's going to be fucking awesome and I'm super excited for it.
I feel like when they announced that game and when they tried to talk about it and really jump into it, I was more confused. I haven't watched the no clip video yet. I know Co has. I don't know if you have, Max. I know people in the chat have, but apparently they do a much better job of explaining what the fuck that game is in that video than they did at their press conference. So, Co, if you want to kind of jump into that and say some of the stuff that was announced or I guess talked about, not necessarily announced.
I'm going to try to keep this brief because I have a hard time doing it when it comes to Fallout. I'm going to say a couple quick lines here. First of all, if you are the slightest bit interested in Fallout 76, if you are a modicum interested, watch the No Clip Fallout 76 documentary. It's 40 minutes long. It was released yesterday, and it will answer more questions than any other place, period. They basically interview the people that are making the game. It talks about their perspective. It talks about what you're going to find in it. It talks about the gameplay loop. It talks about what you're going to do. It's good. So definitely check it out. So anyway, here are my thoughts on 76. I was very concerned when I first heard it because I had no idea what it was. After watching the Fallout 76 documentary, I am now I am anticipating Fallout 76. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. These guys are passionate about it. They want it to work. They are doing some things that are a little bit concerning. and they are taking, and the key word with Fallout 76 is risks. They are, and that's okay because that's good for a company. And they talk about in the video, they don't just want to do the same thing forever. They want to try to grow this out. They want to try new things. And is it really our place to tell game designers, no, don't try new stuff? You know what I mean? So I kind of see where they're going with that. But the short answer is, the more I hear about it, the more Fallout 76 is sounding like a Fallout game in the Destiny framework. That's what it's looking like. No, well, I know it sounds bad, but
it sounds like
So
calm down, chat. Let him finish.
here's what we're looking at right now. So there is this gigantic Fallout map that is being made to the quality of a Fallout game. So, period. There's going to be a big world to explore with lots of interesting locations, lots of places to go. There is a main quest line that you fight through with up to 4 of your friends. There is going to be PvP, although they haven't yet decided how they're going to do it. And beta is going to be the big decider of how they do that. You fight with your small group of people, with other humans coming in and out around you, as you move through this gigantic map. Once you finish the big main quest line, you still keep playing the game, so it doesn't end. And then once you're done, there is end game content. For instance, one of the things they talk about in the Fallout 76 documentary is, remember those nukes we heard about? Those have nothing to do with other players. In fact, I don't even think you can use them on other players. The point of the nuke is to go out and basically with your friends kill really tough enemies. And as you kill a bunch of tough enemies, you get this special code that then lets you launch a nuke. But what does the nuke do? The nuke creates a high-level endgame area with special loot. And then you and your friends go to where you sent the nuke to, and you fight the endgame challenges with all of your endgame gear, and you get the best stuff in the game. They've also announced there's going to be some PvP that you can do with that. And they also did say that the building is going to be kind of like you guys talked about, where you can you basically put down an item, and then you build all around that item. And then whenever you want, you just pick it up and it comes with you. So you can move it with you. And then when you put it back down, all of your shit gets put down with it. So it's just like, it's the definition of a mobile base. I could keep going, but I think that's probably enough for now. So the short answer is,
go watch the doc.
One other small thing and this is where it starts getting a little bit weird. And I'll just talk about this super quick. They're changing the way perks work to where when you level, you pick a perk card, and then you can only slot so many perk cards on your character, but you can switch them when you want. So the idea is that if you want to play with other players, you can get together with a group and be like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then those people can go through their cards and spec out how they want to synergize everything. Do I like that idea? No, I hate it. I want my skill system back, and I want Fallout. But should I shut my mouth and try new things and try to experience this new stuff? Yeah, I probably should. And that's probably what I'm going to do. So the thing is the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing that, first of all, this isn't Fallout 5. We know there will be a Fallout 5. As they say, like this is not where Fallout is going. This is a side project in the Fallout universe. And what my plan is to explore that entire world with my friends, build some bases, do the main story, probably do some raiding at the end. And you know what? If I get 50 hours of quality Fallout experience from that, awesome. Great. Perfect. And you know that, and I'm probably going to have fun the entire time I'm doing it. So that's kind of the way I'm going with it now. It's kind of like, it's just more Fallout while we wait for the main course. It's like an appetizer to Fallout 5 in X years. And yeah, cool.
What if it does so well that we have to wait longer for a new Fallout? Like kind of like Elder Scrolls.
I hope it's good enough to make people feel that way.
Okay. Cool. That's good. Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. Max, where are you at with all of it?
Excuse me if you hear like the gardening stuff in the background. It's like
sounds good here.
I'm excited, but I obviously love single player Fallout experience and all that, but also I come from the world of like having a lot of fun with my friends, and this looks like the perfect Fallout solution for being able to just go in with a group of your friends and have a really, really good time. I do want to revisit though the point, because didn't they mention during the thing that I think nukes can kill other players? That was one thing
I might have done that
Todd,
wrong. Actually, when I said that,
Todd actually and that was one thing as a streamer, and just like that sounds kind of awful. And one of my biggest worries was the fact that we're going to experience hackers that's their goal. Like you've given them something that they can potentially just go in and just start launching nukes everywhere if they find the proper exploit for it. I'm sure that would get patched out, whatever, but that's one of my biggest worries is that we're going to have like, hackers in the servers and things like that are just launching nukes all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit worried about that. I think they'll handle it fine. It'll be okay, hopefully, but I get naturally as a streamer, you get a little worried when you're told that there's PvP and also you can find a nuke and destroy other players and their shit.
It was so funny when the four of us, it was me, Shannon, Ann, and Co. We were watching that live. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can nuke the map," and I'm just like, I think within about 3 minutes, we're all just like, "Well, we're getting stream sniped." That was the first thing.
I have to trust that they're gonna, take the proper precautions to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, they're gonna minimize it right away.
I bet you they don't.
Well, it's funny you say that, JP, because what they talk about in the documentary is basically the beta is not for the game, but it's mostly for the mechanics. So, for instance, they don't really know how PvP is going to work out. Todd wants this feeling of constantly having to be on your toes, but as he said in there, he doesn't want it to be not a fun time for people. So I'm guessing that the beta is not going to be really the technical aspect of 76, but more ironing out the details that we're talking about right now. At least another big thing. Are you guys ready for this?
What's that?
Now, somebody who's not Todd was saying that they were putting this in because Todd basically mandated it. Whenever you're on a server with other players and you open the map, you will see every other player on that server on your map.
Huh.
I first heard that and was like, oh shit. And then I thought about it again and I was like,
their name?
That's the thing. That I was just about to say that, Gassy. I was like, well, if they could see people but not their names, then maybe I'm not really sure. But then again, someone else just said in chat, and I can't confirm this. Somebody else just said in chat that they confirmed private servers because that changes everything. I had heard they didn't want to do private servers. So.
I think that it was confirmed that they're going to do private servers and give tools or support that way. Which, if that's the case,
later on, apparently not. On launch.
Later. Yeah, it's going to be not going to be on launch, but
after launch. Okay.
That could be really cool, especially if they give them like the toolset to mod everything and do sorts of. Can you imagine, especially for all these RP people? Can you imagine a Fallout RP world? That would be cool. So cool.
Yeah, I'd be into that. That'd
be so dope.
Someone was saying in chat, I was trying to find some other verification of this. Apparently, Amazon is sending out beta codes that if you pre-ordered already, but they don't do anything. I'm trying to find more confirmation, or if I was just getting trolled. But that leak did say that it would be playable later in June, didn't it? Before E3 or whatever.
The game comes out in November, so if they're doing a beta, they better get. They got to hurry.
Yeah. So someone just said, "Yep, I got mine and entered it." Fallout 76 beta codes. Fallout.bethesda.net/FAQ given out when bought, but not active until beta starts on date. Okay. So you got to register. I bet you by the end of June, people are playing Fallout 76 on Twitch.
I'm going to register my code.
I bet you that's out and playable as a beta.
I'm excited about it. And I know a lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings for those that are, diehard Fallout fans and want their just their core single player experience. The idea of being able to play a Bethesda game and such a vast world and detailed world that they create and they're known to play, known to make for us is super, super appealing. We haven't been able to do that. And I like that they're taking risks, that they're like, this is new for us too. I'm glad that they were transparent enough to be like, hey, this is new for us and we're going to figure it out and we're going to listen to your guys' feedback. Now, hopefully they execute on that and don't, completely fuck up, because it is a new thing for them in terms of, actually listening and actually being receptive and making the proper changes that, the community wants and that the game demands. So,
yeah, we'll see.
Well said.
We'll see. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I want to touch on. Co, for you, any standouts besides Cyberpunk and Fallout and Dying Light and kind of stuff we've talked about? Anything you want to bring up?
I'm sure there is, but nothing I can think about off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I mean there was way. Oh, Skull and Bones is fantastic. There was way more things at the E3 than I was expecting, man. I mean, it was almost overwhelming. Like this was one of the better E3s, especially compared to the last 2 years, that really just came out with a lot of really great stuff. The Metro stuff looked amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my god, that game can get here quickly enough. People like I'm just going off stuff
Dude,
that like Assassin's Creed looked great. Maneater looked awesome. I really want to play that Cyanide and Happiness Battle Royale game,
Yeah,
the
that looks
Rapture
pretty
thing.
fun. I forgot about that.
Like, there's just a lot of good stuff. There was a
I
lot of good stuff this year.
I think I said this during the Ubisoft conference and probably another time as well, but like I was kind of not super into a new Assassin's Creed this early, but after like watching them, watching the videos and listening to them talk about it, I think I'm good. I think by the time that comes out, I'll be like ready for an Assassin's Creed game. Though that looks nothing like is there even assassins in that game? Like it looks like Witcher but in Greece with Assassin's Creed tied to it. So it looks kind of interesting. I'm curious how they're gonna like tie that into the grand lore of Assassin's Creed, but it looks fun. Like I'm super into getting more gear, super into jumping off of things and stabbing people, and combat looks pretty fun. They're kind of amping it up with the amount of people that were on screen there for that one combat scene.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah.
It looked like it was actually running pretty well.
Yeah. It was missing blood or something like that. It looks kind of weird with that, but it's definitely not like if you compare like Brotherhood or some of the earlier Assassin's Creed to that, they've completely kind of revamped what Assassin's Creed is to them, which I'm fine for because Origins was a good game, and I hope that Odyssey is as well. Max, you mentioned Skull and Bones. As someone that's played a shit ton of Sea of Thieves, is Skull and Bones what you wanted, or is it just different?
I think it's different. It looks vastly different to the gameplay of Sea of Thieves, and that's fine. That's totally cool. Do I know if I'm gonna like it more than Sea of Thieves? I don't know. I think I'm probably still gonna like Sea of Thieves because Sea of Thieves is a little less like we're just gonna shoot a huge volley of cannons, whereas it's a little more like I think I'm gonna prefer being able to make like precise hits based on my skill and being able to aim below below decks on the ship and stuff like that. I think I'm just gonna like Sea of Thieves in that way. However, I'm gonna play the shit out of Skull and Bones as well. I mean, competition and variety in that space. That style of games is totally cool. It's got my interest for sure. I know myself and Burke and whoever are going to play for sure. But do I think it'll be better than Sea of Thieves? I think I'm still going to prefer, based on what I've seen, the Sea of Thieves type of gameplay, just because that speaks more to me.
Was that DLC that they announced for Sea of Thieves? Do you know if there's actually any information tied to what the fuck those are?
A bit. I think the biggest thing that came out of that is like they said before that they weren't gonna add like the skeleton crew kind of AI ships as like an adversary, but then that's what they announced. So I think they kind of took like a little bit of reception from the community saying like, hey, we want that, because I know we've talked about it a lot. Myself, Cream, Burke, and Cletus, the dude we play with. They just gave us like cinematic stuff from it, or a little cutscene kind of stuff from it. It didn't show any gameplay. It just kind of showed a little bit more of slight detail on what we've already kind of had announced. To be honest, the Megalodon thing, it was cool. A little bit of a letdown. I think they get like one, maybe two more tries at the content. The thing with the Megalodon DLC, it was the one that had the smallest lead up time. So all these other ones are kind of going to be the ones where they really have to knock it out of the park as far as content goes. But yeah, as far as what they announced there, it's stuff we were already aware of, but they just gave us something visual, more visual representation of what to look forward to, and hints at what was actually going to be in the game.
Yeah, we'll see. Sea of Thieves, I think for me and chat as well, a lot of people as well, just didn't grab me. So I hope that DLC kind of rights some of my perceived wrongs and fixes it so that it kind of pulls me back in, because me and Co and Zeke, and I think Burke as well, was the one that kind of guided us through that stuff. Like, we had fun, and I think this is where you guys find the fun in kind of making our own fun. Yeah. But if they give us more tools to create said fun, I could see myself revisiting that. And I think I kind of agree with you too with Skull and Bones. Like, that combat looks fun. I don't know how long though it will be fun until it gets a little bit more mundane. Like it's the same thing over and over again. Like, they gotta have
that same type of
Yeah.
It's that type of style of combat where it's just like, all right, ready, line it up. Okay, let's blast them.
Yeah.
All right, ready, line it up again. Let's blast them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that will be fun for a little bit, but I think part of the appeal with Sea of Thieves is if you have a crew that's very good at, you know, repairing quickly, keeping your ship maneuvered well, and you have good cannoneers that fuck people up because they're great at shooting from far distances and leading shots and hitting, you know, specifically that lower deck so that you sink them. That's part of the biggest fun. Like our crew is really, really good at that, and most people that come across us sink pretty quick. If they're just able to do the same kind of volley of shots, you know, I don't know specifically like how detailed their combat mechanics are going to be, but from what I've seen, it just looks like it's kind of like, here's a highlighted zone in the water, boom, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where
we'll see.
We'll just have to see how it goes.
Another game that was mentioned and absolutely looked incredible. Beyond Good and Evil 2, man. Holy shit. They are creating an entire universe for that game. Like every time we see more of that, it seems like they're like we said after the trailer, I could watch an hour and a half long movie of what I saw in that trailer with those characters, and I would be perfectly happy. I am very interested to know what the gameplay is going to be like.
That's the thing, man. I hope we don't get Ubisoft with that, because like Ubisoft can make a fucking trailer. Let me tell you, they showed a little bit of that gameplay stuff, but I wouldn't say it's worrying to me. But I kind of approach that like, we'll see what that game looks like when it actually comes out. The whole working together with Hit Record and you know, getting the community to make stuff for it and paying them, and that's cool, but that I could foresee a lot of fucking issues with that right out of the gate. Like we'll just have to see how that goes. But I agree with Cole 100%. That CG trailer that they had looked fucking awesome. Like that world looks sweet. I would love to walk around and kind of explore it and see what it's got to offer, but we'll just see if it's an actual game.
Yeah, man. Like I was looking at things like the characters and the interactions between the characters and the animations for their reactions and like the personality involved in that. And it was there is clearly a lot of thought going into that game, especially just in terms of like the social aspects inside the career. It really felt alive, which was really cool. So
it's got some character. That's for sure.
Hopefully the game will carry that.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the other things that we've kind of just glossed over, only because they look great, but I don't think anyone's like, wow, that looks fucking incredible, et cetera, et cetera. But we're still super hyped to play them. Or Rage 2, which I think everyone agrees just looks like we're good. You don't have to show us anymore. We will play that game. We're 100% on board with Rage 2. And I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, the new Spider-Man game, I'm in. Like,
I mean, too. Yeah. I was in when they showed it before, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you're just reminding us that it's coming out eventually.
Well, yeah, 3 months. That's actually like one of the earlier shipping games that was at E3 this year.
Yeah, well, that one was an example of like they showed it really, really like forever ago. Right. I was like, I am forget about it until we get to that point where it's about to come out, and we're at that point now. So yeah, again, I'm on board.
Looks like Batman.
Don't need to tell me anymore.
Combat, but I'm totally in. Like I'm all about that. In the Spider-Man
and I know
world, it looks good.
When I saw the Rage 2 trailer and gameplay and all that stuff, I was like, wow, this looks really, really good. I said that on Twitter, and then it was just like, you know, of course, Twitter doing its thing of like, and I can understand this viewpoint. It's like, yeah, a lot of people saying as I get older, I'm less inclined to be about, you know, ooh, shooty, bang, bang, you know, like fucking, it's all in your face. Like, I get that. I get that kind of exhaustion of those types of games. But that said, I still like those enough to try it out when a new one comes along that looks well made.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try it out in that sense. If it proves itself to be more significant and more meaty than just that, great. You know, I'm at least open to try that out to see if that is there in that game. But if it's just like a shoot 'em up fest that's really well made and, you know, looks good and is bloody and gory, cool, that's fine too, you know.
Look, Doom was good, you know. Just give me some more combat that's of that style, and I'm on board. What were some of the other
Doom, although we haven't heard much about
Doom
it.
2. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. I have to admit though, like the only thing I'm a little bit worried about Doom Eternal. They did say it was a sequel to Doom, but they rebooted the franchise with Doom, and I don't know why they didn't just make it Doom 2.
Right. Well, they're like naming conventions are getting. It's weird to say this, but they're getting weirder because like God of War did God of War, right? They just flat out called it God of War, and now I'm kind of glad that they're doing this, but it's also a little weird that Final Fantasy 15. What does that fucking mean? Like it's that's a weird
I love
thing.
how everyone in chat right now is like, but Code, there's already a Doom 2. There's already a Doom.
Yeah, there's already a God of War. Like naming conventions are weird now, but I'm glad that they're adding like Doom Eternal, right? Because there's never going to be Doom Eternal again, right?
Isn't there? Doom Eternal 2, JP.
Hypothetically
Doom
speaking. And there's Halo Infinite. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that, which I don't know. There's not much
There's
to go
not
off
much
of.
to talk about. It was like a new engine showcase. We'll see what that actually ships with.
It's Halo.
Yeah. Naming conventions like Devil May Cry 5. That like there's a game between 4 and 5 called DMC. So what naming conventions are just odd. I'm kind of glad that we're getting away from the numbers because this industry is. If we went down that path, we'd have like, I don't know, GTA 17. Check it out.
You can only do that for so long. Yeah, it's just weird, and I don't envy being in that position of a dev of a long-running franchise and IP, because like after you keep coming out with next version of next game, it's like it's gonna get weird.
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen.
I agree.
Okay, so fair point by Cryonic in chat. Apparently, Pete Hines said that they don't want to have another Doom game with a year in parentheses as part of the title. Okay.
Oh, because it was Doom 2016.
That's I don't know. That's exactly what they had to do with Doom when it came out.
Yeah, Doom 2016.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm okay. I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'm glad with that.
I'm
glad with that.
Ooh, one thing I wanted to talk about. We touched on it briefly. Kingdom Hearts looks really cool. What the fuck were they doing with their sound when they were?
They were highlighting
I
the
can't
song.
Be the one that was like it's voice acting and a music track behind it to mask the fact that they have not sound designed all this.
Well, I know it's not. I think it's because in Kingdom Hearts fandom, the Utada songs, which is the singer of that, is like a big deal. So they were highlighting the song, not necessarily highlighting the fact that they don't have sound effects.
How convenient that they can. I would also do that if I were them, and I didn't want to have to do a trailer with sound effects for all this stuff that maybe not is done. It was awkward for me. It was really awkward.
I could totally see that. But look, I feel like at this point, Square with Kingdom Hearts, they're playing to the audience of Kingdom Hearts. Just kind of like with Nintendo and Smash, like they know what that audience wants. They want to hear the fucking Utada song. They want to hear Sora talk about how the darkness is going to take over someone, and it's not going to make sense to anyone else except.
But
for
even
Kingdom
that
Hearts
said,
fans.
like the mixing of the sounds and stuff, it didn't make it. It just sounded like straight up like me in a booth.
Oh yeah,
like a voice actor in a booth. It was very raw mix. You could tell.
Without
and then
a doubt.
Some of the other conferences when they showed it again. I don't know if they just went back and be like, listen, that was really fucking weird. But then all of a sudden there were sound effects.
There were sound effects before Utada started singing. The second that her song starts,
some sound effects. There was some. I'll give it that. But for me, it was just really awkward and weird to watch. Just like, oh, what are we gonna do? I can control my power, and it's just like that's it. Like, you're nothing else. But it looked great. It looked really good.
Some of my favorite parts about the Kingdom Hearts fandom is on Twitter. There's like a lot of snapshots and screenshots of the trailer going around. Some of that shit is just fucking weird looking, and I love it for being so weird. Like looking at Goofy and Donald standing next to Captain Jack, and like the look on their faces where they're kind of angry but kind of not. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a lot of fun, but that's got to be a hard game to market. Like 5 years where it's been in development, and it's just an odd thing. 3 trailers is a lot. Like Kingdom Hearts is a weird thing. I just want it to come out. I don't want to see any more of it.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I don't even have much stake in that because I never played like all the Kingdom Hearts growing up. I've seen probably more people play it than I've actually played the game itself. And I don't know that I'm going to go back and play the other ones because I know it's really hard and it's probably going to be annoying. So I might just try the new one and then just say, fuck it.
Well, actually, Max, they have a version where you can buy all 10 games on the PlayStation coming out soon. So There you
Yep.
go.
I'm gonna play all 10 games before the new one comes out. That's never gonna happen. I'm not gonna do that.
I've seen it mentioned a bunch of times in the chat. I just have to say, I don't really care about Anthem right now. Like I feel like that game just I don't know. I'm not hooked. They're gonna have to do some stuff to like get me super into Anthem.
I'm pretty worried that Anthem's gonna go the way of Evolve.
You think? I mean, that's a
where
strong
I'm at.
statement. Evolve was kind of a fucking big
Well,
crash
Evolve was
and burn.
okay. Let's go back to before Evolve came out. Everybody was fucking hyped on it. It looked amazing. We're like, oh my god, this looks really, really cool. And it was super hyped for a bit, and then they didn't treat it well. I don't think that they're gonna treat it like the way that what is it, Turtle Rock Studios that made Evolve?
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm a little worried that it's gonna be so generic that people aren't gonna care about it. And I'm not even saying that from my own opinion, just from what I'm already seeing. The general vibe of a lot of people like yourself being like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. You know, I hope that they you know make it something cool and significant and different, but I'm gonna try it. I think I'm of the, I don't want to say minority, but I'm hyped on it. I just said this looks really good. This looks really good. It was another one of those games where I was like, this looks really, really cool. And then I just saw a slew of people and other friends of mine being like, I'm just not into these types of games anymore, you know, whatever.
Well, I think it's kind of like Destiny Burnout, man. Like,
yeah, no, and that's fair. It's valid. I'm not saying that's wrong.
And maybe that's just me now. Maybe when it comes out, I'll be like super fucking into it. Well, it comes out February 22nd. There's a lot of other games to play. That might be another issue entirely for that game. But yeah, I don't know. Co, what do you think?
Well, okay. First of all, before I say anything about it, I want to let people know that if you are interested in Anthem, then what you should probably do is hit Twitter and follow a guy named Mark Dara. He's one of the BioWare lead designers. I think it's Mark Dara is his Twitter handle.
Okay.
The last like 3 days straight, he has been replying to almost every Anthem question thrown his way. His Twitter feed is just like miles of answered Anthem questions. So if you're interested in that game, definitely check out his Twitter. So for Anthem itself, I'm relatively excited for this game just because there were I like the idea of Destiny, but I don't like Bungie's implementation of it, to be honest. I feel it's a little bit too generic and a little bit too casual.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that in some ways Anthem can answer that. I also am really liking the Javelin idea. I really like the flying aspect. I want to explore and look around that world. It's a very cool looking world. And I think that if nothing else, just playing through it for one time to check out and look at everything could be feasible. There are some things that are concerning about it, but really at this point, I think that you guys kind of nailed it. The ball is in their court to differentiate. And if anything, I see what Gassy Mexican was saying about with the Evolve comparison. I'm more concerned of it going the way of Lawbreakers. I'm more concerned of this game coming out being a well-made, decent game.
Yeah.
But just like you guys said, the interest will be so low that after a little bit of time, they're just going to turn the lights off.
I mean, it's a big deal for EA.
Themselves different enough. If they don't quell all this stuff going on right now, like seriously, BioWare right now should be thinking of making a video that's like, hey, you like Destiny, you like online multiplayer shooters. Well, here's why you're going to like Anthem more than any of them, and then give us 5 minutes of really good content explaining why Anthem is going to be something different. That would I think help so many people at this point. The thing that worries me is that they can't make that video.
Well, do you think that if Anthem goes poorly, do you think that's BioWare's like last chance at EA? Do you think they shut down that fucking studio?
If Anthem was BioWare's idea, I'd be floored. I am still fully in the boat that EA was basically like, hey guys, so you screwed up with Andromeda. We are going to need you to go ahead and make us a Destiny competitor and get to it, guys. We'll see you in a couple years. And so like to think about the history of what these guys have made and then to look at Anthem, either it's going to be a really cool game that's going to surprise us because of all these other mechanics, or it's going to be like a BioWare sellout. I hate to say it. I wish I could say it differently, but I seriously feel it's either going to have the soul of BioWare and be something interesting and cool, or it is going to be the project that they just were asked to make. And if that's the case, it's probably going to turn out poorly. Of
I don't.
course,
I
we're
don't
never
know
going to know that.
hearing.
Yeah.
I don't know hearing Casey Hudson talk to on the stage, even when you just saw him, like his facial expressions and stuff. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but he's not an overly emotive guy, anyways. But I couldn't help get an idea, like that he's just kind of been a little fucked up from what's happened to
He's seen
Bioware.
some shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. He came off, and it was very subtle, and it wasn't like he's just completely crushed. But I don't know, when he was talking about there, he didn't sound passionate. He didn't sound like, ooh, I love this. This is so good. We're coming on back.
Well, I will say that the majority of that was probably scripted, and he's probably said those words about
Yeah, no, I get that.
about
I understand
13,
that
14
too.
times in rehearsals, so it's kind of hard to
I understand that too.
to
And
pump
and not
too
that
much
Casey
emotion,
Hudson's an overly emotive dude, and it's because he hasn't been, right? But as I'm watching him, I'm just thinking of how much of a shit show and flop Andromeda was, and what's happened to the Mass Effect franchise and BioWare. Is like there is that pressure, like that we're talking about. If Anthem does not do well, what does that mean for BioWare? And I'm sure they're very, very much aware of that. Like, and then
Yep.
when you're making a game in that environment where it's make or break time for you guys again, and you're trying to reignite that past glory and that past fire and solidify trust in your company and your ability to make games again. That's I have to imagine from a morale perspective. And I also know, like, just from people that have worked even just in QA at BioWare in Edmonton and things like that,
yeah.
morale has sucked there. Like it's been a shaky past like 5 years at BioWare for morale, and just the way that they, that crunch time and that expectation, the way the game dev cycle works. It's just, I would not want to be somebody working at BioWare. That having said that, I love BioWare, and
I hope it
they've
works
made some of
out.
my favorite games.
We
Yeah,
want
I hope
them
it
to
works out.
succeed.
I really
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
We want them back.
No one wants
is
to
what
I,
we
I
want.
hope we all love Anthem, and we're saying, however 7 months from now that we're super fucking about it and can't wait to play it, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, like I was saying, the hope is that we're going to play Anthem and we're going to see all that BioWare richness under the hood. And that's
Right.
what we can't see right now. We don't know what's under the hood of Anthem. It could be either generic Destiny shooter, or it could be something really interesting and unique. Or at least deep. Depth is the key word here. Depth and longevity. So, especially in a game like Anthem. But yeah, man, I almost like it. I'm nervous to get more information on Anthem, because I swear if they're like, hey, here's the skill tree for this javelin, and it's like 9 nodes with 3 connections and 2 ultimates, it's just gonna be like, well, that was fun. Okay. And next.
Yeah, where it takes less than 2 or 3 streams to kind of max out what you're doing.
Where the
yeah.
whole thing is just like 5 inventory slots, and if it's basically just a Destiny ripoff, if it's just a let's get this out the door as fast as possible, make it as pretty, put lipstick on this pig, and sell as many copies as we can, and then we'll announce our next project, and hopefully we'll get carried until then.
Right.
Oh man, it's so crazy how this project could go either way at this point. Yeah.
We'll see.
And I can only imagine how nervous they are.
Yeah,
Like Gatsby said, man.
It's there's a lot riding on it for both EA, for BioWare, for there's a lot. That's going to be a big deal regardless of how it goes down. I'm hearing a lot of people that got actually time to play Battlefield, that it's good, that they've done a lot of stuff to kind of improve on Battlefield 1. I think Jeff Gerstmann was saying specifically the movement feels really, really smooth. Like you walk up to a window, you jump straight through that window, and it feels great. And I'm all about playing more Battlefield. I wasn't super into Battlefield 1. I don't really know if I can pinpoint why. But I've been excited for it in the past couple of weeks. So I want to play some more. I want to play some more Battlefield 5. Or specifically Battlefield 5. I think kind of the biggest meme of the entire fucking thing comes from the dark times that was that interview when they announced that new Star Wars game. I've seen more and more comments about that fucking interview, about how it's the dark times. You're going to hold a lightsaber.
The dark times.
Yeah.
That was such a weird way
it
to
was
introduce
so
a
weird.
new fucking Star Wars game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, guys? So, you've got a new Star Wars game coming out, eh? What's that about? Well, it's dark times.
And that's let me be clear. I'm not making fun of Respawn and Vance there.
not at all.
I'm making fun of EA fucking told them to go out there and sit down and give a pitch for the audience about a new Star Wars game.
That's a perfect time to do exactly what I said I want more game developers to do. You don't have anything to show. You don't have anything significant to give us. Don't fucking say anything. Make it cooler when you announce it later. Have patience to make it a bigger deal and spectacle when you fucking have a ballin' trailer and you're just like, boom, psh, it's the dark times, motherfucker.
I mean, Titanfall 2 was awesome. I think Titanfall 2 is like universally regarded as an amazing single player for what's basically a multiplayer game, right? Like it was going after Call of Duty. I don't think you need to sell us on the fact that Respawn's making a Star Wars game until you're ready to show us something on it.
To show us, yeah.
Yeah, just get it out there.
Now, what's our first impression of this? Is this fucking weird ass interview talking about like, yeah, we're making a Star Wars game. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I can't show you anything. I can't really talk about anything with it. But
that came through in his candor of that interview, right? He was just kind of like, yeah, I was told to fucking come out here. It's the dark times. I don't really know what else I could say. There's Jedi. And yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Cole, you were going to say something? I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, even with the Bethesda teasers, at least there was a logo and a direction. Like, we sort of know what Starfield is. We all have an idea what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be like. Can you imagine if he would have been like, yeah, it's a Jedi thing and we call it the Dark Times. Oh, by the way, it's Jedi Knight 3.
Right.
And that would have been like, like if there was even a title or some kind of substance with it. What did he mention a title? I can't remember.
No, he said the actual name of the game, but I don't remember what it was because.
But he didn't equate it to any style of game. It could be an RTS for all we know, right? Did he say anything about anything about the game?
Someone linked the
Respawn isn't going to make an RTS. That's just not.
I know, but I'm just saying. For all we know, it could be an anime visual novel. For all we know, like we just have zero idea about what it can be called.
Let's all just.
Although I'm sure Twitch chat would love that.
Yeah, let's all indulge in this once again.
Timeline, like between which episodes?
This is such a horrible way to get people hyped about a fucking Star Wars
game.
That
sounds like a
it's
nice
like a dude
time.
pitching an
Got
idea.
any other tidbits?
It's not a nice.
It's a dark time.
It's a dark time.
So I'm thinking we'll call it Jedi the Fallen
Bad
Order.
time. Does
Who's
that
that idiot
just be
talking
all?
about?
I'm stopping this clip. I thought that this was the actual clip. Now with us on.
Can we talk about the guy in the background that's just so happy that the camera's on him?
Yeah.
He's just like,
yeah. That was a weird thing, man. I said this at the beginning when we had Rami on. The conferences were kind of all over the place this year. Sony was just fucking odd. That was weird. The
hostess, I gotta admit, I was not feeling the hostess. Like she was trying.
Yeah.
But man, especially after someone like Aisha a couple years back, like it's oh man, it's so obvious. It's so clear when someone is not in their element and uncomfortable about it. No matter how much they smile.
I mean, he was probably just fucking nervous. I think that was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he was insanely nervous the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like traditional E3 conference wise, like Ubisoft was just fun. Microsoft got out there and said, hey, we got a fuck ton of games. We bought 5 studios. Look forward to everything that's coming forward. Sony was fucking odd. EA was weird. That Square Enix conference was just a trailer. And then we said it before, Nintendo had patch notes for their new Smash game. So I hope next year we get like a more general conference setup than what we did this year. But we'll see. Well, they showed good games. That's, I guess, at the heart of it, that's what matters at the end of the day. I'm excited for the games coming out in the future across the board. Like, I don't think anyone really put out anything that I'm just like, that looks fucking awful. I'm going to play everything that was shown for sure. So that's kind of my, I guess that's my final thoughts if we're given those already on on E3 this year. Everything generally looks pretty okay. I'm excited to play some stuff. Well, I guess we'll go around now. Max, what about you? Like, where are you at with E3 as a whole this year? Excited?
Command and Conquer.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a dead franchise. Although
Wow.
maybe it's not. People are gonna
That
fucking
game
play
might
the
be
shit out
fun.
of that.
That game might be fun. That said, though,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wanted to play that as the new Command and Conquer to come out.
No,
That was like a
it sucks
really?
to see the IP go that way, but I bet you that game.
Thanks, Gassy. My day was going great, and you just had to remind me.
I want to let everybody end on just a real depressing reminder. Remember that franchise you loved? It's fucking dead.
It's been BioWared.
I bet you a year from now at the next EA conference, they're out there saying how much money that game's made.
Oh, for sure. It's good. That game's going to make a lot of money. That's going to be a successful game. It will. It just will.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the hardcore gaming audience, it's going to be people on mobiles, it's going to be people on their mobiles.
Their mobile devices.
Sound like a fucking dad right now. Yeah, on the mobiles playing their gamies. Yeah, it's going to make enough money from people that are just browsing new games on their iPhones and things like that. And then you have the game base that will give it a shot. I'll probably give it a shot. I'm going to suck ass at it though, because I'm not good at those types of games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was sad. There's plenty of stuff still to be excited about. Super hyped for Fallout 76. I think everything else, there's a lot of just stuff where I'm like, okay, this looks kind of neat. I'm trying not to be jaded on games. I'm really trying hard to not be jaded on games, which is a very hard thing to do when you play games as a job and you play as many as we do.
Right.
And you've seen so many trends come and go, and you know, all the people use all the buzzwords, even with something like Prey, when it was being talked about, the whole like I hate the word roguelike. I hate that word. I hate it in every single fucking email that I see. It's a roguelike Vania type.
I hate the discussion after you say that word on if you're using it appropriately. That's what I hate about that word.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so tired of hearing, these different buzzwords for games. I'd just rather like experience what the game is. So that's what I'm trying to do with everything that I've seen at E3. There's some stuff that, is kind of underwhelming. And yeah, I don't have one. I wish I did have one specific game. I think it's probably Cyberpunk, right? Like with everybody else, but I can't get excited about it because it's so far off still. So I'm just like, that was cool.
You gotta slow
Thanks for
down.
showing us what you have so far. That was pretty significant. That was the right amount to show for them. And now I'm going to go back to forgetting about it until it becomes, time for us to get excited about it again.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future, the one that's probably coming out soon that I know I'm going to probably have a lot of fun with friends is Fallout 76 for me. That was a bold move from Bethesda. Say what you want about it. I know people are very opinionated when it comes to that franchise, but that's probably the takeaway for me. Is I'm probably most excited for Fallout 76 if we're talking games that are going to be coming out anytime soon.
Yeah. I didn't specifically name a game, but I think if we're saying like just a game, no matter what state it was shown, I think Last of Us 2 was like the most, I don't want to say emotional. I guess I got the hypest from that trailer. The gameplay they showed looks fucking fantastic to me, and I cannot wait to jump into that. That game looks great.
Oh, and honorable mention to Satisfactory. That game does look kind of cool. I know chat's been talking about it a bit here and there. You have to be a certain type of person to like that type of game. That's very much a niche kind of gaming genre, if you want to call it that. But
right.
I've been playing a lot of different kind of cooperative survival games where you gather resources and build and all that. So I think that will be something that I'll play as well.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it too. But that is not the most excited I am, game that I'm excited for.
Sure. Co, what about you? To kind of put a bow on E3, where are you at with everything?
A great E3 this year. There were many more titles than I expected there to be that I would be excited about. There were some great announcements. There was great new information on things I was already excited about. There were great indie games. We got Cyberpunk stuff. We got an Elder Scrolls 6 confirmation. We got a Starfield confirmation. Like, this has been overall a pretty fantastic E3. I'd almost have to break down my favorite games by genres at this point. But I will say, I mean, as everyone has already guessed, my takeaway was Cyberpunk. That is, I am more hyped for that game by exponentially than pretty much anything else right now, and have been before E3. So, yeah, getting actual meat on that plate was pretty phenomenal, and knowing that there may even be more in a few days is just even better. But again, the Last of Us 2, Neo 2, Rage 2, that's a lot of news. the Doom announcement, all the indie titles, more Metro stuff. I mean, I could just go on and on. So, yeah, I mean, Dying Light 2, what an amazingly pleasant surprise.
Totally.
Just all over the place. Everywhere I looked, in every conference, this is what I liked about this year. Every conference, even if I didn't like the conference, had something good about it, and in many cases, more than just something good. And there were a couple conferences this year that I didn't even really like the conference, but I loved the info that came out. So that was a pleasant change.
That's a good
in the
way of
last
putting
couple
it.
years.
That's a good way of putting it. When you have an E3 where there's something that's significant and you're like, oh, I really like that from each conference, that's a good E3.
Totally.
Because sometimes we've had E3s where it's like, what the fuck did you just do? Like, let's talk about the Connect days. Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah.
True story, man. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And especially compared to the last couple years, like this was a resurgence for E3 in my mind. Like it's kind of like, oh, cool. So these can be good. Like it's been good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think we're good. We'll probably have a little bit more E3 stuff next week once Zeke gets back. I'm sure he'll have some fun stories, some interviews, and he'll be out there playing games and stuff like that. I'm sure he has a bunch of different appointments to see stuff, and I think he's doing a lot of interview and hosting for Twitch as well. So, not super, not 100% done with E3, but we'll have him back next week to talk about that stuff. Then yeah, I guess what's coming out. We didn't talk about Jurassic. I can't call it Jurassic Park. Jurassic World.
Jurassic World Evolution.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this week. I know Coast played it. I played a little bit. We'll bring that up next week. I think I want to try to. I thought I was in a tutorial for that game. Turns out I was just not, and we used way too much money, and then the game sucked because I just had to sit there, like literally couldn't do anything for about 10 minutes while my money built back up. So I'm gonna try that game over again, and hopefully have a more pleasant time with that. What's coming out next week? Is there any what's the next big release? Are we kind of in a dry spell for a little while?
Wow, actually, now that you mention it, there's
Mario
like a
Tennis,
Nintendo games coming out. Yeah. What about Crew 2? Someone just mentioned.
That's at the end of June. Yeah, that's at the end of this month.
Super Mario Party, that was cool. That looked neat. The fact that we're getting away from the whole fucking being in a car together, like that's good.
Yeah.
I
Hopefully it
love
doesn't
how
suck.
someone said Neo 2. Really?
Shipping
that's good
soon.
news.
Neo 2. Yeah, I think it's just a lot of Path of
let's see.
Exile.
In June, we've got Vampire already came out. Apparently, there was a Far Cry 5 Hours of Darkness DLC that released on the 5th of June. That happened.
Didn't know that.
It's an old list. A lot of conversions in June. A lot of stuff coming out for Switch. A lot of new things coming out on Switch. A lot of things moving to different consoles. Man, I am seeing so little for us.
Great. More Path of Exile. Maybe we check out Warframe. Maybe we dive into that fucking mess.
You want to play some Dying Light? Let me know.
I might check out some Dying Light. I'm kind of thinking I want to play through Kingdom Hearts right now. If we're in the dark time right now of
dark
streaming.
times.
Yeah.
Dude.
Might check out some Kingdom Hearts.
What is Earthfall? I have never heard of that game.
I don't know.
Cooperative shooter for up to 4 players. Oh yeah. Never mind. I know what this is.
Okay.
It's like a Left 4 Dead.
Also, we didn't touch on it.
No,
I was just going to say Andrew WK coming out and doing a performance for Bethesda conference. I liked that. I thought it was cool. People didn't dig it, it seemed. But I would have been all about it. That dude's so full of energy and so goddamn positive.
Yeah.
Fuck you if you don't like Andrew WK.
Danny O'Dwyer tweeted out that he was in the front or like second or front row and he was singing the words to that song like verbatim. And the guitarist, there's a point in the conference where the camera's on him and he pointed out to someone in the crowd and gave him a thumbs up. That was Danny that he was pointing to and giving the thumbs up to because he was the only person in the audience that was singing along. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It might be kind of a slow time for streams after this.
That's good, man. I have a backlog like a mile long. I mean, I've been waiting for this for months.
That's not a horrible thing. We didn't talk about it either, too. But Blades, that's a thing for Bethesda.
Elder Scrolls Blades, yeah, make a shit ton of money.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I'll play it.
Man, the worst part is some of it sounds interesting. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to have a base in the Elder Scrolls universe and upgrade parts of it and defend it and do all sorts of stuff. Like that's what drives me crazy. Am I gonna actually have to try blades? No. No.
Horizontal mode, or sorry, vertical mode, not
Portrait.
horizontal mode. Quite the opposite of what I said.
It's portrait
Ugh.
mode. Yeah.
Meeting mode, as he said. I'll play it. I think it's good. You know what? It's tacked on with everything else. It's an extra. So whatever. That's cool.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't suck, that's still cool for us. That's great.
Still win. It's gonna be a weird game to stream. If you even
Yeah.
I guess
Also,
you,
the whole
God,
thing that people that are in VR and playing on PC can play with those that are in mobile. That's weird.
that I might check out some VR stuff. I got my I had to set up the Vive Pro for Erin. She was doing a sponsored stream, and I'm just kind of like, there is some VR stuff I do want to check out, like some Beat Saber. I have this really stupid idea that I want to check out Elder Scrolls Skyrim in VR, but
Yeah, I still have to do that too.
I don't know. We got that Star Trek DLC. We got to play that. I forgot that came
So
out.
excited. So excited.
That's out, isn't it? It's out there?
Fuck it. It's not. It's not out in the proper way that it should be. All right. Making everybody wait till fucking July until you can play it on the PC.
Oh, it's only PS, PlayStation right
It's
now?
only PS4. Right now, it's PSVR exclusive. Fucking dumb, and I hate it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to have the proper experience.
Anyone going to play Alexa Skyrim on stream?
I already have.
Did you do it on stream?
Thoughts?
Not on stream.
How-
Oh, no,
what do you,
no, no.
What do you do? How does it start off?
It's sort of like generic, like you're out in the world and someone comes up to you and they have a problem, and you can choose to help them. And it's very like, yeah, it's Skyrim just condensed down to like the bare essentials of like, can you please help me? And you venture to a cave to help retrieve their thing. And it's very much like the dungeon crawler thing that Alexa, I don't know if you've ever played that. Alexa already had in it and then just Skyrim'd up. But it's funny. I was going to probably make like a little video on it just for YouTube, just for funsies. I don't know if I would. Maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I'll do like that'd be a good thing to do while you're waiting for something to download or whatever. just play some Skyrim VR or Skyrim Alexa.
Skyrim Alexa.
It's real, by the way, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
So
If you have an Alexa, go do it.
How much freedom do you have? Can you just be like, yeah, I fusro da?
Okay, so it's 3 attacks. It's I use my weapon, I use shout, or I cast a spell.
Okay.
So those are the 3 things, and those level up as you use them.
Huh.
It plays the sound as you level up.
Is it like actually a real game? Like, is this the kind of thing you could spend hours doing, or is it like 20 minutes and lol, you're
I
done?
don't know. I don't know how long you could spend playing it and how repetitive it'll be, but I played it for about like 15 minutes while I was in bed. Me and Amanda were just sitting there like, she said mud crab.
I'm actually planning on trying to stream it at some point. So that's
There's like
another
some
one
tongue-in-cheek stuff in there. It'll be good for like a little bit of time. I can't probably like 20 minutes to a half hour or so, I would imagine, before it becomes like, okay.
How many times do you have to repeat yourself?
Not that much.
Okay.
Not that much.
'Cause
I was a little disappointed. You can't say Fusro Da, and
Yeah.
she does it.
Yeah,
It's
started to say.
you shout instead of Fusro Da, which I was a little disappointed on.
That sucks. Yeah, I still have issues when I walk upstairs and say like, "Hey, Alexa, turn on the kitchen lights." What did you say? Then they start playing a song, and I'm like, "All right, cool."
Well, yours is like a future home, right? Like pretty much everything is controlled from your phone,
Yeah.
right?
If
That's
I
cool.
walk in a room, or if I say, "Hey Alexa, let's watch a movie," the TV clicks on and the lights dim and speakers come up. Yeah.
They come up.
Well, like the volume rises.
Okay.
They
I
don't.
was like,
They
you have
don't. They don't
speakers that
rise
fucking
from the
rise?
floor. No. Yeah. I'm not.
Do you have heated floors?
No. We don't have heated floors.
Look into that because that seems like something that you guys should get.
I don't feel like we just got done with construction. I don't want to tear
Do
the
it.
fucking house up
Do it.
again.
I want heated floors when I visit JP. Okay.
Yeah.
I want it.
We'll see. We'll see. We won't. We won't have that. I don't want to have heated floors. What happens if the floors catch on fire, Max? How does what goes
Well, I don't
down
know
there?
what happens if they catch on flyer. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Look, I combined
Fire?
lava and because I was thinking lava, but I made it into fire. Let's do some shots.
Well, then you're gonna have to figure out if you jump off your deck, but be careful because you can
right.
injure
Yeah,
your
I'll give you a call. You can give me the pro tips on if I should jump off
I
my
can tell you
deck.
what not to do. Don't put your weight on the spindles. They're not made for that, JP.
I still can't believe it's how you fucking broke your ankle.
Shut up!
That's so stupid. Do some shout outs.
It's not a
Max.
joke.
Shout us out. Where can we check you out, Max?
I'm on the YouTubes and also Twitch, Variety Caster, that's playing all sorts of stuff. Lately, it's going to be a lot of probably Prey, Moon Crash DLC. We're going to keep going into that. I'll probably stream it later. Jurassic World, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, follow me on the Twitter as well. That's the best way to know what I'm playing and what I'm doing. I also do roleplay stuff on here with JP and company. I'm on Far Verona, the sci-fi roleplay show, and also the long-running Court of Swords show. So when those get fired back up, because we're kind of on a little bit of a hiatus due to the E3 stuff and people having plans and stuff afterwards. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show and love being on. Feel free to have me on whenever.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on.
Just saying, I happened to be in chat during the last Court of Swords episode.
Whoa,
Good God.
Spoilers.
Hey,
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm done.
What'd you say? What was it?
It's a good show.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like I was. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Catch up before next episode.
Yeah,
if
you
you're-
got
if
some
you're a
time if you
follower.
want to get caught up.
Catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout outs, go.
Okay.
What?
Oh. Hi, everybody. My name is normally Coco. Hi. My name is Co Carnage. You can find me every single day at 8 a.m. EDT. I am currently streaming Jurassic World Park Evolution, whatever that's called. We're going to be doing that tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We just made it to Island 3. Having a good time there. Then tomorrow afternoon, we continue our jaunt into the Prey DLC, which I'm really enjoying. If you're interested at all in the Prey DLC before you pull that $20 trigger, feel free to drop by tomorrow afternoon. I will be happy to answer any questions you have on it, show you the ropes, show you what it's about. It's a lot of fun. And then tomorrow, I'll be getting a lot of requests for this. So tomorrow at the end of the stream, I'm going to take hopefully about half an hour. We'll see how long it goes. And I'm going to go over my thoughts on every single conference, every single game, talk about what we know, and make a big video with timestamps so you can skip around super easy on all the E3 stuff. So there'll be a go-to. And that's really about it. So we got more Vampire coming up also, Jurassic Park. May even start Yakuza Kiwami soon, which I'm super excited about. Okay. And yeah, as always, glad you guys were here today. Thank you for watching. And if I don't see you in the channel, see you next week.
Awesome stuff. I usually don't do shout outs, but I do want to give a shout out to Ko, Rami, Gassy, Shannon, Sacriel, Ann, Baru, Dodger. Do we have anyone else?
And anyone else that may have contributed.
There you go. Thanks for the save. Yeah, we had a shit ton of people on Drop Frames this year. It was super fun to do that. Oh, and Ann. Yeah, and Ann. I thought I said it. Anyways.
You did say Ann, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we both forgot.
And
then chat misled me because that never happened.
It never happens. Chat's always correct. I think Ko's also been on this channel. We were joking about it more than he has his own. So thanks for doing that. It'll be good to have a break till next Wednesday till we do another Drop Frames. All the conferences are up. If you want to watch them on my YouTube channel, you don't need to subscribe anymore to do that. This episode will get posted later today. And that's it. That's our E3 2018 coverage. So we'll be back next year. You don't have to ask me between now and then if we'll be doing it. It's probably going to happen. I'll just get that started so that I can start ignoring those tweets tomorrow on if we're going to be covering 2019 E3. It's going to happen.
Also, seriously, a big special thank you. There are names that I'm seeing in chat right now that I have seen almost every single conference this weekend. There are some of you guys that I know basically spent the weekend hanging out with us. So big special thanks to you guys. It was a lot of fun. This was a really fun conference. So
it's always fun. Awesome. Yeah, it was super fun. Also, we have I should give a special shout out as well as a question. Shout outs to Barry and my mod team for not only doing hype meter stuff, for giving us like full fucking documents on each of the conferences so we can talk about that stuff after the fact. Also, the question, Max, from Barry to you. Do you need Ambot renamed? I don't know why I'm asking this, but he told me to do it. So
yeah, probably. We'll talk, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah. Ambot needs some love and we gotta polish that up. It's the bot that I have. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Love you, Barry.
There you go. Have a conversation with Barry, Max. I think that's what he's hinting at there. That's it. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Zeke will be back. We'll probably have a guest, or we won't, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more E3.
Also, Day 9, we love you too.
Yes. Thank you for the shout out, Sean. That was one of the highlights for sure, I think, for me and Co throughout the weekend. So we're out of here. Thanks everyone for watching our E3 coverage. We'll see you next year or next week. Bye.